Beauty and the Beast will not be seen tonight, so we may bring you a special program. Sorry, but it will return next week at its regular time. Promise.
Hiya, boys and girls. I've got a great show for you today, and you're going to like it.
Show starts in 5 minutes.
Great Moments at Breakfast, presented by Kellogg's Rice Krispies.
Barbara, pass the Kellogg's Rice Krispies before it's all gone. No more Rice Krispies. We ran out of Rice Krispies. My tears will not stop until I hear snap, crackle, pop.
My mother-in-law.
Enough to last at least 2 months. But how long I'll be here?
It's her 15th visit so far this year.
Take it from me, Mighty Mouse. When you're on the go all day, you don't always eat as good as you should. That's why I recommend Zest Tabs. Mom, one Zest Tab gives a kid most of the vitamins he needs for a whole day. Excuse me. And kids, Zest Tabs are good to eat. They come in 5 delicious flavors. Want to see me eat one myself? Okay, I'll eat one myself. Cherry. Delicious, gang. Better than cheese.
Zest Tabs and Zest Tabs with iron. Endorsed by one of the strongest guys in the world.
Kids, if you send the name from a Zest Tab package and 50 cents to Mighty Mouse, Nutley, New Jersey, I'll send you a bigger-than-life-size poster of myself.
A very special season is coming on ABC.
Your father's alive.
He can't be. He was frozen 67 years ago.
He melted. Now, a man who's been on ice, so to speak, for 67 years, well, he's got some catching up to do.
By golly, there's a midget in that box. Well, not bad for 101. Now, wait, what language are you talking?
That's a new language called 1967.
Is that a part of the language?
That's very much a part.
Let's go, son.
Life and laughs begin with the second 100 years in color on ABC.
Say, kids, what is it up in the sky? Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's Superman. Yes, sir, kids, a real flying Superman that can be yours. Looks just like Superman himself. He's made of tough blue plastic and has a bright red cape that fits on his shoulders. With your flying Superman, you get a powerful launcher to send him sky high, zooming through space just like Superman does in his adventures. Now, you'll want to be one of the first to have your own flying Superman, so listen carefully, because here's all you do to get yours. Send one box top from Kellogg's Corn Flakes and just 10 cents. That's one box top and just 10 cents to Flying Superman, Box 330, Battle Creek, Michigan. Or use the handy order blank right on the Kellogg's Corn Flakes package. Get your Flying Superman from Kellogg's now.
4 minutes to go to...
Tonight, right after Animal House, Eric Estrada and Howard Hessman meet the Dream Girls.
Hi.
Of Every Man's Fantasy.
I'll just knock you dead.
Morgan Fairchild, Linda Carter, Kathy Lee Crosby, Victoria Principal, and much, much more. Beautiful. They're the sexiest super ladies on the scene. They're the women who rate a 10 later tonight.
Good morning, dear.
Good morning, sweetie birdie.
I'm out of coffee.
You're out of coffee. Isn't that wonderful? Out of coffee?
What a time to run out. And why run out? Now there's a new giant-size Instant Maxwell House. A really big jar of coffee. New giant-size Instant Maxwell House gives you cups and cups and cups. Dozens of extra cups of the coffee with that warm bean flavor. Warm bean flavor because it's made from coffee beans still warm from roasting. That's why new Instant Maxwell House is the freshest tasting coffee yet. So to make sure you've always got plenty of coffee for the man in your house, get the new giant-size Instant Maxwell House. You won't have to run out again.
The show will start in 2 minutes.
I heard you want to be a frito bandido like me. You do? Then you must sing the bandido song. Let's sing together. You just follow the bouncing Fritos corn chips bag. Ay, 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 ay. I am the frito bandido. Hey, I like Fritos corn chips. I love them, I do. I want Fritos corn chips. I'll get them from you. Ay, 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 ay. Oh, I am the frito bandito. Give me Fritos corn chips and I'll be your friend. The frito bandido, you must not offend. Now, boys and girls, you are frito bandidos too. You sing the frito bandido song and you loco for crunchy Fritos corn chips. That's nice. Munch, munch, munchy bunchy Fritos corn chips.
Vroom, vroom, vroom. Today, so I have exciting story to tell about beautiful new Ford Mustang car. And inside the car, boy and mother and shopping bag. And inside bag, box of post-rice crinkles. And inside box of post-rice crinkles.
Wow, Mom. Boy, oh, boy. There's a Mustang car inside the Rice Crinkles.
Oh, no, dear. The Rice Crinkles are inside our Mustang.
But there is a Mustang inside the Rice Crinkles.
Oh, there is a Mustang inside the Rice Crinkles.
A Mustang, just like ours.
And so, sugary rice crinkles give happy ending to story. Boy, get Mustang. You do too, inside post rice crinkles. Collect them all, convertible, hardtop, and fastback. Race with your friends. You go vroom, vroom when you get Mustang car free inside post rice crinkles.
And now, on with the show.
Now, everyone at home, Mecca-lecca hi, Mecca, hiney ho. Mecca-lecca hi, Mecca, hiney ho.
And we are here, Al Hardee, on all the social media platforms with my buddy Chance Bartels.
And hey, I got to say, Tom, I've never seen you without that beard. You shaved.
I'm not Tom. Come on.
Wait a minute. No. This is Ron Goss, who is a former on-air personality at KICKS 1015, which is a country station in the Atlanta, Georgia area. He worked with Al, and I know him from working on movies.
That's right.
We'll talk about it later.
We go way back, a long time.
Well, way a long time ago.
Yeah, way too long.
When I was just a little kid.
That's right. And you're a lot thinner, too.
Mm-hmm. I was a little lighter and a little lighter in the loafers.
Well, that's true. But, I haven't seen you in a while, and we had lunch, I guess, one day last week. You were in town, or close to my
neighborhood.
In my neighborhood.
Around your area.
And tell people what you do sometimes right now.
What sometimes?
Well, for a living.
You mean...
You're not a DJ no more.
Not talking about women, are you? Oh, no.
No.
You're talking about, I do odd jobs like TaskRabbit, and I put furniture together and help people do things like mount TVs and just...
Senior citizens you help?
All kinds of people. No, mostly
invalids?
College girls.
Oh, okay. That's nice.
Old women whose husbands don't want to do the work, or you name it.
And what rabbit? I have a rabbit as a pet.
TaskRabbit is
TaskRabbit.
it's a app on your phone or on your computer.
Okay.
And you can hire people to do all kinds of odd jobs for you, even clean house and stuff like that. I don't do that, but the few odd jobs I do are mostly assembling furniture and
got it. There's other
IKEA
companies that do the same
Amazon
thing.
and
Yeah.
things like that together, and I'll do deliveries and I'll help people move occasionally, things of that nature.
Grocery shopping,
odd jobs, handyman type jobs.
Okay.
Small
Well,
jobs.
it's good to see you again.
Around the house.
Yeah.
That's just one of many jobs I do.
Well, you do
Lots
what you
of
have to
jobs.
do to make a living these days.
When I was in radio, I had to do other jobs on the side to make real money. So
Well, that's true.
And then I moved into the movie industry, and you had to do other jobs to make money to pay the bills. So and now I do this and other jobs to make money.
And you were with Houghton Talent in the Atlanta, Georgia area, which is a big agency.
I was with Houghton. I don't know if I still am or not. I haven't talked to them in a couple of years, so they may not consider me. But if something came up and I was right for it, maybe they would call me out of the blue and say, "Hey, we got a part for you."
But you're not actively auditioning.
In a movie. No,
presently.
I'm not presently auditioning for any movies.
Yeah.
Now, I met you through KICKS Radio back in the day, back in the 90s, I guess, late 80s, early 90s. And then, how did you meet?
We met on a movie set back in 2010, and we worked on so many. First, doing background, like extra work and stuff, and then he started doing stand-in work and speaking roles. I mean, he's done real acting. I mean, you go back to RoboCop 3.
Yeah, that
which
was
was shot in the Atlanta area back in the 80s, right?
That was in 91. After
91.
After I left KICKS, I signed with a couple of agents to do commercials and voiceover type stuff, and then all of a sudden I was getting sent to stand in for David Ogden Stiers and Michael Gross from Family Ties and different people who were shooting TV movies in the Atlanta area, and that's how I started in the movie industry. I wasn't trying to be a movie star or make movies. I was just kind of looked into it. At the time, Atlanta was a small, movie industry town, and it was growing, but I got well known, and I started standing in for Donald Sutherland on The Hunger Games. I stood in for John Lithgow in the movie The Accountant with Ben Affleck.
How were they as people? Did they treat you right? You tell the truth, no holds barred. What was Donald Sutherland like?
It's hard to say. Donald Sutherland did not interact with me a whole lot, so I only.
So he's an a-hole.
I wouldn't say that, but
he's 86 years old now.
Yeah,
wow.
He's 86. Yeah.
I'm saying in the movie industry there are people who grew up one way or another way.
Okay,
I can give you.
He's Canadian.
The best example is I didn't have to work with him a lot because he only came out on the set when I wasn't there. So I would go off the set and he would come in and do his part, and I would watch him from a distance and then come in and do the same for rehearsals and while they're
for lighting. For people that don't know, that's why they need a stand-in.
That's the way some movies are. They'll shoot certain scenes with the stars one day and then not use them the next day.
Right.
They'll do the other stuff.
Yeah. And they have hand doubles. I mean, all sorts of doubles where they don't have to bother the talent to show even their freaking hands or feet or whatever.
You might see the back of my head looking at somebody else, or the shoulder talking to the person that he was talking to in the movie.
And for people that don't know, they shoot movies out of sequence. They don't shoot a movie in order. It's all over the place.
It's all about availability and convenience. Now, he was with me when I did that scene with Dolly Parton playing her son in Joyful Noise, that funeral shot. Funeral scene in the very beginning of Joyful Noise. Queen Latifah's in there, and Keke Palmer, who has blown up. Mm-hmm. She was really nothing at that time. That was a good springboard for her. She's very talented. She sang the national anthem at the World Series last year in Houston versus the Braves. But remember, she was behind me. She was a major character in that movie, and now she's hosting Password. NBC brought back the game show Password in the format of the Alan Ludden.
Actually, she does a good job.
She's funny.
I like her. She's
funny. People trashed when she was announced that she's going to be the host. People were really negative and down on it. She does a good job.
I was looking more at Dolly Parton when I was working with Dolly Parton. I would have to say I was looking more at Dolly Parton, not Queen Latifah.
No, I did meet Dolly Parton. I did meet Dolly Parton back in the day at KICKS when I was, she was up there on the morning show.
I met her.
She's so sweet.
I met her first time in Cedartown, Georgia, when she was playing with Porter Wagner. Back in the 60s, when I was a kid, I got to meet Dolly Parton and Porter Wagner doing a country show in Cedartown, Georgia.
How about that?
Of all places. That was weird.
You know the song she did, I Will Always Love You? She wrote that song. She wrote that for Porter Wagner. Because they worked together for so long, before she went out on her own, and she wrote that for...
And then Whitney Houston covered it.
Then she covered it. But it was written by Dolly Parton for Porter Wagner.
Well, wow. It's kind of a breakup song because they broke up as a duo, And she went off on her own.
But she will always love him.
But she always loves him.
But she wrote that song with him in mind.
How about that husband of hers, too, that they've been married all these years, since, I think, 1966?
He's not in the spotlight.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was going to tell you earlier about the difference in two types of people that are in movies. I did a movie one time called Manhunt in the Dakotas. It was a TV movie for NBC, and Michael Gross played an FBI agent who was searching for Rod Steiger. He played the bad guy in the movie.
Rod Steiger always played a good bad guy.
You talking about Gross from Family Ties?
Really did.
The dad from Family Ties?
The dad from Family Ties, the nice guy. He was the FBI agent, and he was the good guy in the movie. Rod Steiger was the bad guy. I stood in for Michael Gross, and so anytime Michael Gross wasn't there, I was on set standing for the wardrobe and hair and makeup people to work on him, so I could go through the rehearsals with Rod Steiger. Rod Steiger, on the other hand, would leave the set every time, and we were shooting in freezing cold weather in the middle of winter in Atlanta, Georgia, and the ground was cold and icy. He would go back to his trailer and rest. He actually brought a lady with him who was his caretaker. He was pretty old at the time. This was in early 90s, and he would go to the set, didn't mingle with the extras and do anything. Michael Gross, on the other hand, was very friendly. I would be on the set, and he would be 10 feet away behind the camera talking to the director, or over on the set talking to other FBI agents.
Well, you know, some actors, they're very private people. I mean, it's not that they're trying to be rude. They just don't interact with a lot of people, I suppose.
It could be shyness. It could just be the way he was brought up. Rod Steiger was brought up in the old movie industry. 40s, 50s actors in those days were studio actors, and they were sort of treated a certain way, whereas Michael Gross came up in TV, so he came up in a different industry, so he was nicer and friendlier and more talkative on the set. So I try not to judge anybody. I like Rod Steiger. I still think he's a great actor, and I like Michael Gross. I thought he was a great guy to work for and stand in for. So I wouldn't complain about any of them, but there are some who are pretty mean, and I don't want to call out any specific names.
Oh, do, please.
I stood in for David Ogden Stiers. You know who he was, right? He played Winchester on MASH.
Oh, right.
I think he was the Teacup and Beauty and the Beast.
In the movie or the TV show?
Huh?
Was he in the movie or the TV show MASH?
TV show MASH.
Okay.
He was the Winchester, the guy that took the place of Frank Burns when Frank Burns left the show. And I stood in for David Ogden Stiers for 4 weeks in the middle of summer in June in Atlanta for a TV movie with Judith Light. Judith Light played the
She's a good
mother
actor.
on Who's the Boss. She was
right with Tony Danza. She was the mom.
Right, and she was great. She was sweet. She was wonderful. I saw her every day.
She was in the Dallas. Hold that thought, because I just want to interject about Judith Light. She was in the TNT Dallas reboot from about 10 years ago, and she was great and hilarious in that. She played a character named Harris's mother, and she was a drug dealer, dealing cocaine or something. And there was a scene where she tries the product, and she snorts a line of cocaine. She goes, "Mama like." It was just funny. You had to see it. And I don't advocate drug use. Okay. I'm just saying.
I didn't see that one.
By the way, Tom will be back next week. He had to work today. We missed Tom.
Yeah, but he's actually watching.
Oh, good. Hey, man, what's up? We miss you, man.
We miss you, man.
She has actually played some weird characters, and this movie was a weird character. She played Marie Hilly, who actually, in the movie, she played her own twin sister. She pretended like she killed herself and came back as her own twin sister and hung out with her husband, who was played by David Ogden Stiers, the guy who I was standing in for again. So the movie was kind of wild and crazy and all over town.
Wild and crazy guy.
And the funny part about it is we went to the lake. I would walk through a scene, get a rehearsal, and the light's going down, so they got to do a quick, they bring out Judith Light and David Ogden Stiers. They go straight to the set by Lake Lanier and shoot their scene on the side of the lake where we just set it up for them. And then at the end of the movie, I said, "Can I get a picture with you, Mr. Stiers?" Or David. I don't know if I may have called him David Ogden, But he
was
says,
this in the era of the iPhone, or was this old school camera?
Just a regular camera. I think I brought a camera with me to work.
Remember the year?
Yeah, it was the early 90s,
okay.
94, 93, 95. And I said, "Could I get a picture with you?" And he goes, "I don't do that." And I go, "Well, can I?"
How rude!
Could I just get a picture
Indeed.
of you? And he says, "Well, I'd rather not." So I said, okay.
I mean, there's no reason for that.
This is after 4 weeks of shooting the movie together, and
you work pretty closely with the guy.
Every day, and I was
you get to know him.
Close on the set. He was not overly friendly and not real talkative on the set as well, but I didn't go out of my way to upset him or do anything. I tried to be there every time I needed to be there, and stay out of his way. If I thought I was going to get in his way, I'd just stay at the back of the camera and off the set, off to the side of the set. But I did get a picture of him from the wardrobe people. I had to do some.
You went around him.
I did some doubling scenes for him after he left the town. I had to double him in some driving scenes in the movie. So in the movie, you can actually see, if you stop your tape, there's times when the car is going down the road. If it's him and Judith in the car, then you see the two of them talking. But if it's outside the car, it's me and her double going down the highway. And if you stop your tape, you can see in the car, it's not him, it's me. And I'm wearing the same hat, same watch, same shirt, everything to match.
Movie making is a lot of fun. Don't get me wrong, because I was a dailies operator. I never was an actor. I worked on a lot of movies around the dailies. And so, but movie work is not all that fun if you think about it, because I remember when I was running dailies, they would call me sometimes at 10 o'clock at night, or we had a pager. They would page me. We're going to run dailies. Can
you explain what a daily is?
Dailies is what is the previous day's shootings. In other words, back when I ran dailies, it was all shot on film, and they would send the film to the lab after the day's shooting. It would come back the next day, and they would watch dailies. Some people call them rushes. And so it was my job to run the dailies. The editor, because the video is silent, and you have to interlock the audio with the video. In other words, when they did the movie, it was recorded on a separate piece of film, which was this magnetic track. And the editor will label the leader on the film where you're supposed to thread up. You put the video here in the gate with this X. You put the sound film in there with the X, and you sync them up. And when you start the projector, they all run together to create, picture and sound. But I did that for a long time to make it. It pays good money, don't get me wrong. I made some good money doing it, but you have to work crazy hours. You're on call.
Hours is only part of the problem. The hours, you could be there from 6 in the morning until midnight. You could do a 14-hour day. I think the longest day I ever did was about 23 hours. I got there at 5 in the morning.
That's inhumane.
And left at 4 the next day.
Yeah, but they feed you good food.
It doesn't matter, man. You're sleep deprived. You're cranky. You're getting tired of seeing the same people, the same faces for so long. It's brutal.
They don't all give you great food. Some of them have. I've had canned peaches and spaghetti on a movie set before.
And cheese balls.
With
cheese balls, yeah.
With cheese balls all day in the craft service department. But then there are others that feed you mahi and steak and chicken, cordon bleu and all kinds of stuff. So, and I would have to say, as a stand-in, a lot of times you would eat with the cast and crew, whereas if I was an extra the next day and not standing in, then I would be eating the
scraps,
canned spaghetti and peaches.
Right.
The most fun, I worked on quite a few movies, but the most fun I had working on a movie, I'll tell you. Mm-hmm. Remember a movie called Remember the Titans with Denzel Washington?
Yes.
Yeah,
I worked on that for 7 weeks, and it was really a lot of fun. Denzel Washington is probably one of the nicest people. In fact, I was on the set one day because I didn't have nothing to do, so I went to the set where they were shooting, and they were shooting this interior from his house. And so they built, of course, the interior on a soundstage here in Atlanta.
Right.
And so they broke for lunch, and got me some lunch, and I was sitting there by myself. True story. Denzel Washington points at me and says, "Hey, come on over here and sit with us." And so I went over there and sat next to Denzel Washington. He couldn't have been any nicer. He's really a nice guy. He's a good actor, too. But I enjoyed working on it. We shot here in Atlanta, and then I went to Rome, Georgia. They used Berry College in Rome for the set. For the
same movie.
For the movie, The Titans. And so I spent, a few days in Rome.
Right.
They put you up in a hotel and stuff. But anyway, it was fun. I really enjoyed that.
Sometimes that will happen on a movie set where the stars will come out and intermingle with the regular guys, the regular Joes.
Yeah.
Or if you're sitting in a lunch wagon or something, they will just call you over. And I think there are certain people, like Denzel was probably just wanting to talk to a regular person. He's probably talked industry enough.
He was just the nicest person.
He just wanted to talk and find out from an Atlanta person, what was going on around town, what do you do, anything, something different, because they're human too. You have to remember, most of these actors,
and a lot of them are isolated too.
They're isolated. They're around the same people every day, so they do like some new blood here and there occasionally.
New blood.
Behind you in that closet, I have a script from Remember the Titans that he signed.
Oh, you never told me that, Al.
It's in there. Yeah.
Ah, neat little surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah, remember the Jane Seymour movie that shot here one time? It's called Passion for Justice, and I played a deputy sheriff in the movie. So I was on the set a lot. I think it was a TV movie, so it was a quick shoot, like 2.5 weeks. And the sheriff was the main bad guy, and I was sort of his henchman, his hoodlum. I got to walk Jane Seymour into jail and, drive the sheriff around in an old 1950s car. So one day we were on the movie set out in Monroe, Georgia, and she said, Jane Seymour had to take a break, so she went back to the holding area to get changed into the next outfit. And it's 1950s, so she has to look different, and everything is totally different. One of the people on the set said, "Boy, she's a bitch."
What?
And I said, "What? What are you talking about?"
Grief. Watch your tongue.
They said she just walked past all these kids out there wanting her autograph and went straight past them and kept going. And
maybe she had to memorize lines or something.
That's what I told them. I said, "You can't judge one day you're on this set. I've been on here for 2.5 weeks."
Yeah.
She's always friendly. She always went out of her way.
Right.
At the end of the day, when she finished her scene, she would walk over to the crowd, shake hands, take pictures with kids, all kinds of stuff. She was Jane Seymour Medicine Woman, or what? Doc Seymour.
You know what her first movie was, right?
Huh?
James Bond, the first Roger Moore James Bond, Live and Let Die. She had a special credit introducing Jane Seymour.
Yeah, but she was
as
known,
Solitaire.
She was known as Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman at the
well,
time.
of course. No, I'm not debating that. Her 90s show. Right.
This is
at the time, in the context of when you were doing that.
It made everybody know who she was.
Yeah,
so
she was still out there and popular at that time. Yeah,
she was very popular.
Very.
And she was nice, and she would go out of her way to do that kind of stuff, to sign autographs, to take pictures with kids, shake hands, but whenever she has time.
Right.
So that's what I want people to think when they think about.
She was working, for goodness sakes.
Is you're not going to walk into Burger King or wherever your job is and stop you in the middle and say, "Give me your autograph."
Right.
If you're working a regular 9-to-5 job,
yeah,
you have to do your job, and that's what movie stars do. They just do it differently. So give her some slack.
I love Somewhere in Time. I did a post about that, and it went viral.
Oh, she was hot.
That is a
she
great
was hot in that
movie.
I like
that was a
great
good movie.
movie.
Oh, yeah.
That was a really good movie.
Christopher
Reeve, yeah. Thank you for saying Reeve. It annoys me people refer to him as Christopher Reeves, which is easy to do because of George Reeves.
George Reeves
was another
Reeve,
Superman, and
right.
my mic sounds funny. Yeah.
Well, Chance, you sound funny a little
bit.
You
sound funny.
Well, you guys have the
That's not the microphone, that's Chance.
I know. I got a little whiny, weaselly voice. You have the best voices in the room, no doubt. Something's wrong.
Your mic sounds fine.
All right.
You're fine.
Yeah. Remember, we did a recording, and
you
it
sound
sounded
like you
fine.
always do.
Yeah.
To me, I don't notice
That's
anything
not
different.
a compliment.
I'm giving you a compliment. That is a compliment.
We're going to get back to the topic of movies just briefly. I just want to acknowledge the death of Queen Elizabeth II. And that's happened a while ago. Depends on when you're listening to this program or watching this program.
Basil just checked, said your mic sounds fine.
Oh, thank you, sir. I'm glad he's watching. Wish you were here, brother. Well, and I saw a really good special that ABC put together on 2020 Thursday night, and they did a great job. And the footage they have of her when she was 21, 25 years old from the film vault, it's incredible. And I just got to say hats off. And I didn't realize she was a mechanic. And she played a role in World War II. I mean, she was the queen for over 70 years.
She was around during Winston Churchill days.
And think of all the people she met. She met the Beatles. I mean, actors, heads of state. I mean,
and she knighted so many people. Elton John and there was a bunch
Anthony
of other
Hopkins has been
Anthony
knighted.
Hopkins.
Sir Anthony
She
Hopkins.
never cut any of their heads off with that long sword, did she? Never.
She
did.
looks completely different as a young woman, and
Just tapped him on the shoulder with it.
I like her story of how she met Philip. She met him when she was 13. He was 18, so he robbed the cradle. And her family was opposed to her marrying him because he was, in their eyes, a peasant, a Greek guy, but he was a soldier, so he was a good quality person. But she's like, the hell with that. I love this. Anyway, they did a great job. I learned a lot about Queen Elizabeth, so God rest and God bless the Queen. May she rest in peace. Now, can I just ask you fellas, and we'll get back to the movies because I think it's interesting that Ron has some great stories about movie sets, and so do you, Al. What British programs, music stands out in your mind? Because you guys were around when the British invasion hit America, and I wasn't around. When the Beatles hit, Al, what are your memories of when the Beatles took over the music?
My first memory of the Beatles was I saw them on Huntley Brinkley on NBC. Remember that news show, Huntley Brinkley on NBC, the news?
When there were only 3 channels?
Yeah. Yes. And so they did a story on this group of lads from England that was just taken over the music scene. And I saw them on television. I said, the Beatles. I said, what a strange name for a group, the Beatles. And so that's when I first was exposed to them, was on the TV news. Then later, of course, they were on Ed Sullivan when they came to America, but that was the first time I heard of the Beatles.
So you heard of them before Ed Sullivan, you just said. That's interesting. When you saw the news.
They were on the news, yes. Before, way before
they were promoting She Loves You
No.
Something?
This was before they came to America. They showed them in England,
Right.
They
were a phenomenon over there.
But they were taking over the music scene here in America. And so it, like my friend Marty used to say, he says there was really no British invasion. There was a Beatles invasion.
He's an Elvis fan.
But yeah, that's true. But he loves the Beatles too. But the Beatles did change the face of music in this country. It led to other British invasion groups. The Rolling Stones,
the Who,
the Who,
Yardbirds,
the Yardbirds,
the Kinks,
Peter Noon of Herman's Hermits. It led to all of that. But when the Beatles first hit the pop scene,
they were the pioneers.
They were the pioneers.
One of the first radio stations I worked at had an album that was a 2-album set. The best of the British invasion, had all the hits from the Who, the Kinks.
You took it
home. I love the
Chad
British.
And Jeremy, Summer Song, all those.
I love the British invasion. I love that music. Anyway,
it was a good era.
That's all you listen to. 60s on 6 on Sirius.
Well, listen to 70s now, but anyway,
I'm over 70s.
Broadening your horizons. He's entered the 1970s, folks.
I was only 5 when the Beatles hit in '64, so I really my music years were the 70s and early 80s, I guess. My college years, high school years. I think that's what most people remember about music in their life, is those are the important years.
Do you know what my first record that I bought was from the British invasion years, or as my friend Marty says, Beatles years? It wasn't the Beatles record. It was "Get Off My Cloud" by the Rolling Stones. Remember that song? That was the first.
Hey, get off my cloud.
That was the first song that I record I bought from the British era. From that.
Mine was "I Can't Get No Satisfaction" by the Stones.
Yeah, that was a good one too. I still have that 45. That was on London Records.
I like that one.
But the Beatles did. They started it.
This is a topic we got to do with Tom down the line sometime in the future about British pop culture, television, music. It's just so much there, and Tom could have some killer video and stuff, and plus his knowledge. So,
well, we can't play the music per se because we'll get
maybe covers. Maybe I've noticed you can play live versions and get away with it. The bots won't strike you down.
Some TV shows. I'll go to the TV shows I watched, and they were a little after the time because they probably showed them
in reruns
when I was a kid in reruns on PBS. We saw Monty Python.
Oh,
and the Holy Grail, Monty Python. TV shows, TV series. That was on PBS at like 11 o'clock every night, and I remember watching that when I was in high school, probably in the 70s. And then there was also Benny Hill, which I can't remember what channel.
Yes.
Somebody showed Benny Hill every night at about 11:30.
And they would show boobies
hilarious.
On that.
I
in
loved
America,
it.
you could see nudity. It's like, hey, on regular TV.
I loved it.
And I wonder, did
I
they
was
not
a teenage
censor
boy.
it?
I loved the more nudity, the better.
I think someone didn't pre-screen it, and that's why it wound up being on there. But isn't it interesting how in Europe, they're hung up.
PBS could always show butts and stuff in the background, walking up out of the water and everything. So.
Yeah, or in Africa or something, like National Geographic,
Yeah, National
I guess.
Geographic
the National Geographic rule.
Showed on PBS. That was
but the thing is, like in Europe, and I've said this before on our shows, the Nostalgic Podblast and Basil's Nostalgic Podcast, and what's yours?
It's on the table there.
Right there on the table.
Nostalgia Rewind.
Nostalgia. Anyway, in Europe, they get hung up on violence and not nudity, whereas in America, we love violence and not nudity or sex. You know what I'm saying? Just as a
Not me.
society.
I would rather see a naked person anytime over
A beheading.
gunshot in the face,
Right.
and watching a bullet go through somebody's eyebrows into the back of their head.
Like I did in Walking Dead.
And come out
Merle
on the
shot
other
me in the
side.
head as a zombie.
Did he shoot
close
you?
up.
Oh,
yeah.
man, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I got shot. That was
I
fun.
hate that happened to you.
Yeah.
Well,
that's what's wrong with me. That's why I'm a little mental. I've never been the same.
We need to
since I
give
got
out
that bullet in the
we
brain.
need to give out the phone number people want to call.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Why don't you do that, Al?
Okay.
678.
It's 678 if you want to talk. 678-615-7560.
Excellent. And another good British show, The Avengers. Patrick McNay. Did you watch The Avengers? No.
Oh, was that the girl? Diana
Emma
Rigg.
Yeah, Diana
Emma
Rigg,
Peel.
who
Ooh,
just
I
died.
loved
Yeah.
Emma Peel. Yeah.
And before that, it was Honor Blackman was on that show, who went on to play. I'm not cussing. Bots are going to flag me. Pussy Galore was her character. Just a character name.
I remember.
In Goldfinger.
Yeah, Goldfinger.
She left the show, I think, to do Goldfinger.
Yeah, but they painted her with that paint. It really.
No, that was Shirley Eaton, I think.
Yeah, but,
different actor.
Yeah, but that really kind of messed her up. That's
It
what
got
I
her
hear.
pores or
Yeah.
poisoned her?
Yeah.
Skin
It didn't
poisoning?
poison her. It didn't kill her, but she was sick after
In the movie,
that.
she died. It was supposed to be real.
Well, she got sick after
golden
that.
paint.
Yeah.
Really? I
She
think her
did.
name's Shirley Eaton.
Yeah.
That
actually,
wasn't Honor Blackman.
Actually, that's my favorite Bond movie is Goldfinger.
Mine too, I think, with the great Sean Connery.
But I like the song by Shirley Bassey. I mean, it's a great Bond song. Goldfinger.
Goldfinger.
He's a man with the Midas touch. Yeah.
By the
Great
way,
song.
Ron, also, you don't do this anymore. You didn't mention this when you talked about your biography of what you do professionally, but you used to do DJ work, and I hooked you up with a gig at a pool party for my friend Joy a few years ago. Remember that?
Right.
You still do that?
I DJ'd radio and DJ'd parties on the side because you can't make a living in radio, so you have to get some extra money somewhere. So then I would DJ for weddings and stuff on the weekends, and school dances, high school dances, pool parties, kids parties, all that kind of stuff. And so I did
Bar mitzvahs
that.
and
bar mitzvahs,
anything.
you name it. I DJ'd for a lot of different events.
Weddings? Have you done weddings?
I played for the Braves stadium parties one time back in the 90s.
Okay.
When B98 used to do stadium parties down at
B98.5, folks,
Turner
in a
Field,
big Atlanta radio station.
the old Turner Field.
Yeah.
And then I would do those kind of things. And so when I was in radio, I did it on the side. When I got out of radio, I thought I would do that for a living and then get into the other stuff. But I wound up getting into the movie industry as a stand-in, an actor, an extra, you name it. For 25 years, I was in the movie industry, but I still did the DJ
and you had
for
speaking
radios.
parts too. You had regular acting roles
Right.
too.
I introduced President Roosevelt in the 1928 Democratic Convention, and that was a movie called Warm Springs, which was an Emmy Award-winning movie for HBO. It won the Emmy for Best Picture that year, and Kenneth Branagh played President Roosevelt. Cynthia Nixon played Eleanor Roosevelt. It also had Kathy Bates, David Strathern, a lot of big stars. In
Cynthia
that movie.
Nixon from Sex and the City, the redhead.
Right. She
and did
played
you know
Eleanor Roosevelt in the movie, and she's in the scene that I'm in, where I'm introducing President Roosevelt. She's up in the balcony, talking about her husband's polio years.
I saw her on Buzzer as a little girl. She was on To Tell the Truth. Her mom worked on the crew of To Tell the Truth. I think she was a makeup person or something. Or an accountant. Anyway, she was one of the imposters on To Tell the Truth back in 1973 is when this aired. And Buzzer, they took it off the schedule. Really ticked me off. They must have a new program director. They took off all these old classic game shows that I liked about 2 months ago or so. They took off Now You See It, and they took off To Tell the Truth, which I loved. And they brought that back. It's been back recently on ABC in prime time.
A lot of actors and movie stars play game shows
yeah,
as just a way to make a little extra money. Or
Patty Duke did.
To keep yourself out in the public eye.
Right.
I actually have done some Japanese game shows.
What?
When I was starting in the movie industry back in the 90s, and I actually did a Japanese game show which I played a guy who was cheating on his wife, and the game was called Real Job, or something like that in Japanese. And what you would do is you would go out and do these little skits, and I went to a place where I had a guy pretend to be me and go on my business trip, so I could stay in town with my wife or my girlfriend, and my wife wouldn't know it.
Your side piece.
So at the end of the episode, I'm walking in with a bag of souvenirs from my Chicago trip with little pennant flags and stuff sticking out of the bag. And I'm saying, okay, honey, I'm back from my trip now. But in the meantime, they've shown me with my girlfriend at her house, under the bed, under the sheets, kicking the bed around and everything. And it's a crazy thing. And the way the Japanese game show worked that I was told, I've never seen an episode of it, but somebody said that at the end of your episode, they will say, is this a real job? And my job title was alibi maker. So are you an alibi maker? Is that a real job? And then they all come out at the end and say, no, there is no such real job.
So it's like to tell the truth in a sense. I mean, where you have people vote. Did you win anything?
No, I just did the episode.
Okay, and you got paid.
They hired me as an actor to
got
make
it.
the,
Okay.
the segments or the little
I didn't know
inserts.
if you fooled them, you got money. I'm just asking because I don't know the show.
Sometimes they would just want you to know your age, so you would cover up your ID, all the information on your ID, and except for your date of birth, and they would try to guess your age and then show your ID and stuff.
Darn it.
So it was just a weird thing, but I did a Japanese game show. So one day during the Olympics in '96 here in Atlanta, someone actually came up to me, a big group of Japanese people came up to me and said, hey, you're on a Japanese game show. You funny guy. I like you. Can we have your autograph? And I go, okay, I'll sign it.
That's kind of funny, isn't
That
it?
is cool.
It was just weird.
Yeah.
I hadn't even thought about it for 2 years. It's like a couple years earlier, I'd done several episodes of this. I guess it was the same game show. It could have been different game shows, but they remembered me when they came to Atlanta for the Olympics.
And they just happened to see your episode. That's wild. I mean, it's so rare.
They happened to see me there.
Random.
At the Olympics and go, oh, you're on TV. We know you.
I enjoyed game shows. My favorite was Hollywood Squares. My second favorite was the Match Game. Those are the two that I really enjoyed watching. I'm not much of a game show geek like Chance is, but I did like those two shows.
I think they packed those boards with a lot of great stars, though. They had hilarious answers, and they also had writers for that show.
Great writers.
They knew a lot of the answers.
I actually, when I went to California in the early '70s, and so I went to the taping of the Hollywood Squares. They do a week's worth of shows in one day.
Right.
And so it was fun. They have a guy that comes out, warms up the audience before they tape. There's Sonny down there.
Yeah.
And, I used to think the squares, they superimpose, but it actually was big.
Stacked up.
They stacked up.
Right.
But it was funny. It was in July when I was out there. And, like, the guys that had a coat and tie on, they had shorts on under. They of course, you didn't see, their legs.
The celebrities.
Yeah, the celebrities had, it was funny. But what would happen, they would do a show, and they actually played the commercials. You could see them on the screen. They did it in real time.
That's interesting.
And so when I did, that's the way they did it when I was there. But then after they finished a show, they would take like a 25-minute break, and they would have a guy come out, warm you up, and they come back and do another show. They would change clothes, and some of the stars, they would change out every now and then. But
they've actually done game shows in Atlanta.
Family Feud.
Family Feud, one of the shows, and I would be paid $50 to go to there.
We don't have to talk. I'd be paid $100.
Sit in the audience as an extra in the crowd because they have a hard time filling the stadium or the
with
stands
white folks
with enough people.
That's what they said. Listen, this is a family show. Listen, this is not controversial. It's just a fact. They had people coming in because Atlanta has a large African American population, and so they would have people coming off the street wanting to be in the crowd, and they did have a problem finding Asians and Caucasians. They actually would pay, and they said, "Don't tell anyone you're being paid when you're waiting." In the waiting area to tape a show, don't mention you're being paid.
Giving that secret away.
And
they're
filming in L.A. The heck with it, because Steve Harvey told me, as long as I'm in charge, we're always going to do this in Atlanta, and he moved to L.A.
Yeah,
he lied. No, he didn't lie. It's the production company. It wasn't his choice. I like him, but he did say that. He looked me in the eye and said, as long as I'm hosting, we're going to do this here in Atlanta.
But there are a lot of game shows,
and
especially mostly in L.A., a few in New York. Chicago has a couple, I guess, and Atlanta's had a few. We've had the what's the sporting event thing that's on NBC? It's kind of American Gladiators. It's the one where they do all the sporting things and they go down the line and show how muscular they are.
They set up the old Turner Field. Turner Field. Yeah.
American something. I'll look it up. I can't remember.
They get people down there at night because it's always a nighttime shot in the show. So that means you're probably there from dark until sunup or at least early hours of the morning, 12.
What, did you go to it?
3. No, but I know they do it here in Atlanta.
Well, yeah, they
and all over the world.
They do it. They do it. They did it at Turner Fields.
Yeah, they do it in other towns as well.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I'm just saying, they tell people to get there at a certain time, and they'll give you free tickets, or they.
It's like American Gladiators.
They try to get a big crowd.
I can't remember the name, and it's been on for years and years and years.
Yeah, it's on NBC. And maybe Channel 36 might show it at night sometimes when NBC doesn't carry it, because I think NBC and
I think it's syndicated. No, it's not. It's probably on the Game Show channel or something like that.
But it's interesting. They need big crowds, and even in New York City, you can go get free tickets for
American Ninja Warrior.
Yeah, that's it, American Ninja. But I don't understand. I mean, the guys and the girls on those shows, they really work hard at that. I don't see how they do some of that stuff.
No, these are trained athletes. These are people who go through rigorous training.
They must, because I mean, some don't make it through the whole course, but you know, a lot of them do, and I just don't see how they do it.
It's not scripted either. It's not like The Bachelor, Bachelorette, that fake crap. I can't believe people watch that junk.
I don't know. I like some of that.
Well, I would admit it.
I got to kick off with The Bachelorette.
It's what entertains you. If you like it, that's fine.
I think they have subliminal messages piped out to that, and Dancing with the Farts that says, "You are now stupider. You are now dumber."
There are a lot of things that we
Dumbing
watched growing up, dumbing down America, but the Three Stooges, I can name right off the bat, which was the lowest common denominator. That
I don't talk bad about the Three Stooges.
But I'm not talking bad about it, because their slapstick humor is hilarious. But there are people who think they are dumb as hell. So same with Hee Haw.
Well,
I grew up on Hee Haw.
That was the country laugh-in, yeah.
Country laugh-in, but it was hilarious.
The people that think they're dumb, or they're dumb probably themselves.
Right.
Roy Clark was a smart guy, and so was Buck Owens. Buck Owens was very smart.
And people made a living and fed their families with good careers in country music and television.
Don't ever miss
20, 25, 30 years that Hee Haw was on.
Yeah, you should never underestimate the South.
I love Hee Haw. BR 549.
Like when they took off all the Beverly Hillbillies and Petticoat Junction and stuff from CBS.
Yeah, like Tom talked about, right, the purge.
They want to purge all the country shows to make them think CBS was a nice, beautiful network.
Because of All in the Family.
And
because of All in the Family, the rating success of All in the
That's
Family.
how they were
They
gonna
thought
change it?
that's what the public wanted. Then you had all those spin-offs of the Norman Lear shows like Maude. Anyway, we could go, that's a whole other show we could do.
Yeah, but that was just great that people thought, let's kill the country when it was at its top.
It was New Yorkers.
It was number one, though.
New York executives.
Well,
did
Hee Haw started out on CBS,
right?
And it was there for 2 years, and then it went into syndication.
And stayed for 30 years.
Yeah, and syndication. It did every Saturday night.
It's back now. I've seen just channel surfing. Well, someone's running it now.
Circle Network carries it every week.
Well, I think
and
that
best of DVDs and stuff.
There's a channel. It's like a country channel. Not Retro TV, but it's they have a lot of country shows. I forget what it is, but
Circle, they carry Grand Ole Opry and all kinds of stuff.
Does it Circle?
Yeah, Circle.
But there was another one.
That could be others, but
and Minnie Pearl had that hat with the price tag. Did you say that already?
Yeah, country music television. There's a whole bunch of them.
Yeah,
but they do, I think, have a tendency to show everything again, because they just need a lot of product out there now, because there's so many channels, and between all the streaming services and
tell Tom to call us. Take a break. I know he's working.
Tom Basil, he said it's RFD TV. That's what it was.
Okay.
RFD TV.
RFD.
You got a nice assist from Tom.
Yeah, because Don Imus used to have his show on there. Imus in the Morning was on RFD TV after he got booted away from MSNBC.
Another British show, just a quick mention, The Saint with Roger Moore, who we talked about earlier, James Bond. Great show. And that was on Decades in a weekend binge. You ever watch Decades? I like that network.
Yeah, they're showing Superman this weekend. I've watched a couple episodes yesterday.
George Reeves,
the original Superman.
Yeah.
But they do show like one show, and just show it all day around the clock, it seems like.
And Tom, in a recent show, pulled great video of a cornflakes ad that George Reeves acted in, and Jimmy Olsen. Forget his name. Forgive me. God, what's that actor who played Jimmy Olsen? You probably know off the top of your head, Al. Oh, don't worry about it. I'll look it up.
I don't remember that.
Okay. I'll look
you
it
have
up.
to look it up.
I don't remember who played Jimmy Olsen, but I'll look it up on my text.
Doug McClure did in the movies, but let me see. Jimmy Olsen TV show.
He played Jimmy Olsen, really?
Yeah.
Doug McClure from the Virginian?
Mark McClure.
Oh,
You're
Mark
right.
McClure.
I got confused. Doug McClure was on the Virginian.
Okay, there we go.
And Fall Guy. And
here comes Superman.
Jimmy Olsen TV show actor.
Here
and I know it. It's in my memory bank somewhere. Jack Larson. There was a TV ad with Jack Larson.
He was on Superman, the TV show.
Yeah, that's Jimmy Olsen.
He was the young guy.
I was referring to that cool piece of video that Tom put up of a Cornflakes ad, one of many that George Reeves acted in, where he rushes out to get more boxes of cornflakes. Jimmy's all upset. Oh, you're out of cornflakes.
Didn't they put the old version of Jack Larson, didn't they put him in a new movie? Another superhero movie?
He died in 2015 now.
I know, but he was in a recent...
Let me look it up.
2000 movie, I believe. Check his IMDb page. I think he was in Spider-Man or one of the...
Well, I'm looking it up right now. He was
Superman?
in Lois and Clark. That wasn't
All
too
right,
recent.
hello, who is this?
Hello, this is Ethan from Canton, Georgia.
What? What the hell is this?
From Canton, Georgia.
Like
and I want y'all to know Jack Lawson was a guy in the Superman show.
All right, Jack Larson.
You're not making fun of my voice, are you, Chance?
No. We like Jack. Jack's
I wonder if this is Tom calling.
Yeah, it's me. Of course it is.
Shut up. Well, wish you were here.
Well, I wish I was here. I'm just sitting back doing nothing.
Well, Tom's at the Weather Channel. He's a director there. He's getting some extra hours.
I thought you told me he was out of town.
No,
I am out of
I
town.
said he is out of town. He's at the Weather Channel in Marietta.
Downtown. A different town.
He's in my neck of the woods. That's where I live.
He's in Marietta.
That's where I stay.
Yeah.
Well, listen here now. I want y'all to know that I think it's a wonderful thing that y'all are doing today, talking about everything.
Everything. Sound like Red Fox.
Oh, I'm sorry. I've got a great, I've got to work next weekend too, unfortunately.
No.
But I've got an album that goes with your shirt, and I will be sure to show it to you. I don't know if I can show it on camera though, but it's an actual Red Fox album I bought at one of the comic conventions I went to.
A dirty album? Is it dirty?
Well, I've never listened to it. But I won't even tell you the name of it. But that's the only reason I bought the album. I think I paid $20 for it, which was too much. But you know, it was the front of the album cover that got me, and when you see it, you'll know why. It was hilarious.
There's some Richard Pryor albums you can't say on the air the titles of comedy records.
Well, yeah. Well, you could say the title of this one, but I'd rather save it and show it to you in person.
Perfect. Well, that's too bad you're going to be not available next week, too. But
well,
we'll just say
you could always be sick. You could say, well, I'm not feeling too well. I want to go home.
No, he's a professional. Can't do that.
Why not?
I can't do that. Yeah. I can't do that.
Always leave them wanting more.
Yeah, well, y'all carry on. I'll just talk to you all later, and y'all continue to have a good show, and maybe Ryan D. Hayes will call in.
All right.
Well, he's busy this weekend, and a good friend of their family passed away a couple of days ago, so they're tied up with that.
The Queen?
No, it wasn't the Queen.
They knew the Queen?
Wow. It was one of their family friends or something. I saw the post, so I doubt he'll call today. So we're sorry, Ryan. Yeah.
I doubt he will either.
Yeah.
All right. Well, y'all carry on and have a good show.
Well, you don't work too hard over there at the Weather Channel.
My feet are, I'll send you a picture. My feet are propped up. The switcher's right in front of me, and I'm just kicking back. All right, man. Y'all be good. Bye-bye.
Be safe. Bye. As we're live, by the way, I just want to acknowledge it is 9/11. You probably listen to this after the fact, but I just want to quickly say God bless everyone who died in that terrible day. We don't talk politics here. We try to keep it family friendly. I don't think it's political because it's something that everybody remembers where you were when that happened.
I remember 9/11, 22 years ago?
Yeah, it was in 2001.
2001.
21
years ago. Well, I was close. But I remember when it happened. You know where I was?
Working.
No, I was in this room right here. Before it was a studio, I had a TV in here, and I was watching TV, and my friend Marty called and said, turn on your TV. So I turned on the TV, and I actually saw the second plane hit the tower. I saw it, I didn't see the first one. And I said, I thought it was a little small plane, like a little Piper Cub or something. I didn't know it was a big jet. It was terrible. I remember that day, yeah.
Where were you, Ron?
Probably
Were you awake?
At home in bed, and then heard on the radio station, and the radio guy said something was going on. I turned the TV on and saw the second plane hit, just like Al did.
Same here. I was
turned
home.
it on, and the plane was smoking from the first one, and then they showed the second one going in.
was terrible.
I actually saw it when one of the towers fell. That was
I saw that too.
God,
I have a videotape. I recorded all day. I have it all on. I need to convert it to DVD, but I have videotape, like 8-hour videotapes. I just recorded everything.
Well, I went to New York some years before that, and I have a picture of me in front of the Twin Towers. I went there.
There's been movies.
I didn't go in the towers, but I went there because they were the tallest thing at the time, and I had my picture taken right in front of them.
And think about the movies that featured that tower. King Kong, the remake with Jessica Lange. That's the building Kong climbs instead of the Empire State Building like in the classic Superior King Kong movie with
and
Fay
Tom
Wray.
said he was at CNN shooting in the VP's office. Wow. Were you shooting the VP, Tom? He was shooting video, I'm sure.
When it happened,
does he have something to do with climate change? Is that why he's down there?
Mm-hmm. When it happened,
the Weather Channel. The Weather Channel weather changes every day, so climate's changing.
That's how I met Tom many years ago. Was at Turner because he moved to Atlanta from Newport News, Virginia, and so he got a job working production at Turner.
Oh, so he didn't do weather at Turner. He just did weather at the Weather Channel.
No, he does. He's not on camera. He's a director.
Oh, okay.
And so that's how I met him because. A friend of mine came down and said, well, there's a guy named Tom that's working upstairs in production. He's a film collector, and you should meet him. And so that's how I met him.
He's a good man.
Yeah.
And another movie, Superman the movie, featured the Twin Towers and his flight with Lois Lane in the first Superman Christopher Reeve movie. They fly around the Twin Towers, and, just everything changed that day.
All right, who is this? Is
All right, let's get it straight. Let's get it straight. Now,
you were shooting the VP? What were you doing that for?
No, you remember Terry McGurk? He was in charge.
Yeah.
I was shooting in his office. Me and Kevin Pally. Did you know Kevin Pally?
Yes, but what were you shooting?
We were shooting some promotional thing, and it all went down.
Well, Terry McGurk was Ted's right-hand man. He actually ended up running the Braves.
Ted Turner.
Well, he wasn't a right-hand man then because all that
But he
had
became
changed.
the right-hand man.
Yeah, no, he was the right-hand man. Then he became the guy.
He ran the Braves.
In charge of the Braves.
Yeah, he ran the Braves organization.
Yes, in charge of the Braves. Now, there's another trailer which I do have, which they still have not released chance, of the Spider-Man movie, the first Spider-Man movie.
Right.
Where Spider-Man, he captures them in between the Twin Towers, a helicopter. Did you ever see that trailer?
Yes, sir. I saw it in the theater. I remember it. You have it on film?
I've got it I've got a trailer of
cool.
it. Yes, I don't have it on film. No, they never released the trailer on film that I know of.
And 16, yeah.
And 16 or 35, but they pulled the trailer, which I think was a shame because if nothing else, it was a tribute. If nothing else, it didn't wreak bad things. But I've got maybe we can run it one day. I do have that trailer. And its quality's pretty good. The quality's very, very good.
Did they not use it in the movie?
No,
they
did not. They cut that scene and everything.
A lot of stuff that is shot in trailers never makes it to the finished movie. Yeah. I've worked on several movies like that where I was in the trailer a lot, and then I see the movie and I could barely see myself. So
you're on the cutting room floor.
It's weird.
Well, the people that edit trailers is an entirely different department.
Right.
Well, Bill Keith, the guy who got me my job at Turner, used to work with me at a local station in Hampton. Mm-hmm. And then he worked at Turner. Then he went and worked for Crawford Communications there in Atlanta. And all he did was trailers for the movie companies. So he knows all about that stuff. He'd be a good person to get to talk to because he did all the trailers. And no telling what trailers he did. I still don't know, but
I thought one of the most interesting things I saw in a trailer was in the Bridget, what's her name? Bridget Diaries. Bridget Jones Diaries.
Bridget Jones.
Yeah, there was a commercial, and I saw the commercial more than I saw the movie, but she kept saying in the commercial something about her father dying or something, and then when the movie came out, it was her mother died. So it's weird. It's like they just changed it all of a sudden in the movie.
You remembered that?
Well, it was just weird.
I wouldn't remember that.
When I saw them, but they repeated commercial over and over, so you see it all the time before you go into the theater. You go in the theater and see the movie, and you go, here's that scene. Wait a minute, that's not what she said. In the commercial, she said father, and now she's saying mother. Yeah. So I just always thought that was weird.
I was a projectionist in the Terror Theater when we played that movie.
But if you're on a movie set and you hear them doing lines, a lot of times they will tell you things to try, and they just let the camera run, And there were times when we did some shots. There was one scene, I believe I did a movie called American Reunion, and Eugene Levy is making out with Stifler's mom in the movie theater at the end of the movie. So I'm sitting behind him.
You sure are.
I'm sitting behind him, and I had a great shot. I had a cameo in that movie. And it's when the trailer starts to run, they stop and show this little last-minute scene, and he is making out with Stifler's mom in the movie theater.
You mean the credits, when the credits
roll?
roll.
The credits are rolling, and then they're telling us what to do, like, now laugh, everybody do this, and you don't know what they're going to use until the finished movie comes out.
You made the cut.
So
that's a memorable part.
It was just weird.
Stifler's mom.
Yeah, Stifler's mom is making out with Eugene Levy.
Yeah.
The dad.
And that's American Pie 4 for those that don't know. American Reunion.
American Reunion.
I worked on that movie like 20 days in Conyers. They had a high school doubling for
Remember
school.
the guy that used to voice all the trailers? He died some years ago.
Yeah, he was on everything.
He's
for a
on
long time.
every single trailer. Yeah. But if you notice trailers today, they don't have a narrator.
No, and they give too much away these days.
Well,
they're poorly edited.
Now I love trailers, but they don't have an announcer talking about the movie like they did back in the 90s.
Imagine a world where no one's alive anymore.
They don't do that.
Real dramatic guy you're talking about? Yeah. I don't know his name yet. I'll look it up.
But he made a lot of money.
Now they just blow their brains out in a commercial and say, "Go see this. It's a funny movie."
No, the only thing you hear now at the end of a trailer, they'll say, "Only in theaters."
Well, I'm surprised, speaking of only in theaters, that Disney Plus is releasing first-run movies on Disney Plus, like the one with Tom Hanks playing Geppetto in the new Pinocchio.
The new Pinocchio.
Only on Disney Plus, not even in theaters at all. That's a big star.
I would not go to the theater to see it anyway.
But now they're coming out that way. They're coming straight to Disney, straight to Netflix.
No, that's not true. That is not true. Warner Brothers and all the other studios, now they'll make movies just for streaming. Hey, Tom, you still here?
Oh, yeah.
Like the new Monsters movie?
Yeah.
It's probably so bad, they're just going to stream it. They're not going to spend the money to put it in movie theaters. But
we're having a party right here. We're watching that. You, me, and Tom.
But that always happens. They always are movies that go straight to DVD or straight to...
Warner Brothers and Universal said that the 45-day limit is over. So when they release a movie in a theater, it's not going to stream for a few months after that, supposedly.
But Disney is starting. They always paved the way. Look, they got out of radio early on. They knew what the trend was in terms of entertainment and how people will consume their entertainment. And they're not even releasing these great Disney Plus Marvel shows on Blu-ray or 4K, DVD, nothing. I want to buy them. There's some I really enjoyed, like WandaVision, and I'm enjoying She-Hulk right now. It's really funny.
She-Hulk.
But the last episode was pretty funny.
I have no desire to see those.
We used to have movies of the week, and ABC, NBC, CBS, when they were the only stations around,
I remember
they
when
would
CBS
make movies
used to
for networks.
But now Disney's not putting stuff in theaters, man.
But I think they have to do it. There are so many networks out there now. They have to make their own identity.
I remember
Disney
before David
movies.
Letterman, CBS used to run the CBS Late Show before David Letterman.
Right.
They ran movies. And sometimes they were made for TV.
Right.
Now they're doing Braves games exclusively on Apple TV. It's so aggravating. I mean, this streaming is taking over. You got to face reality.
Well, theaters will still be around.
No doubt.
You know, some will close.
They need content. They've got to find it somewhere. So.
The Marvel movies, though, since Endgame, I mean, they've been faltering a little bit. I still believe in MCU and Marvel Studios. But
well, I mentioned before.
You can overshoot your wad if you're not careful.
Nice.
You're going to show too many superhero movies and.
They're still making money, but look, Eternals was subpar.
I think it's a good time for a comedy to come out right now. If you ask me,
sucked.
I disagree. We disagree.
It was terrible.
All right, but I catch your point. Yeah,
but you didn't like Thor.
We need a good comedy, and they're trying to do that, but they do it with Thor. Thor was not a good comedy.
No,
it's not a good movie.
Thor 3 was good, Ragnarok, but they're not. Disney did a press release. We have no plans to release any of our streaming original shows for home video. And I think that's a mistake. There's still a huge market. There's people that have not bought Disney Plus or subscribed to it.
Well, look, they
got
to figure who's going to be buying this stuff. I mean, I will buy. It's just like there's certain movies that I like. Like, Tom, you still here?
Yeah.
I'm just checking. You're kind of quiet.
I had my hand raised, but nobody was calling.
We got 4 people in the room. We got a dog in here too.
Listen, real quick. I know what movie you're going to talk about, Al, but what will save the movie theaters if they bring back vaudeville. There you go. There you go. It's out there.
And Whiteface.
That'll work.
Yeah.
But where else can you go and hear the Dolby Atmos sound and the latest? You have to see it on the big. It's just like this friend of mine. He's a disc jockey. He doesn't live in Atlanta, but he saw the Elvis movie and he absolutely loved it. And I said, "Did you go to the cinema to see it?" He said, "No, I watched it on television." I said, "Oh no, you can't watch a movie like that on TV."
Well, that was one of the byproducts of COVID. They've killed the movie theaters. So
They've
got to get people back. They have to get people back.
They haven't killed the movie theaters. You just don't go to the
movies.
movies.
You just pushed Al's buttons.
Because you're cheap.
No, they killed the movie theaters.
The only time you went,
it was worth going to the theater.
You got him riled up now. You're insulting
The only time you ever went to the movies, I remember, is when you got free passes. You never paid to go to a movie.
We never paid.
I
movies
did
we
pay
worked
for
on.
movies I wanted to see.
We used to go to the premieres.
I went to a lot of crappy movies I didn't want to see for free. So.
Well, you and I used to go to movies all the time.
I love movies. I love movies. I love movies. Stop telling me I don't love movies. I love movies.
Well, stop saying theaters are over. They're not.
But theaters, I didn't say they're over. I said
COVID.
Did. I said COVID killed
you lit
the theaters.
a wick under his behind.
The same way stuff killed the newspaper
you just lit a
industry.
Fuse. He's about to blow up.
Stuff has killed the radio industry. Stuff has killed newspapers that stop people from using them or going. Whether it's the internet or whatever. If people have a reason,
the newspapers, that's digital.
But if people have a reason to go back to the movies, they will go back to the movie theaters. I'm not saying movie theaters are dead.
All right, September.
I love movies, and I wish people
September
would go
3rd,
to
they
movies.
had $3 movies in all the theaters all across the country,
right, and they were empty.
And they sold out. They were packed. They had to turn people away.
Okay, well that's good. That's a good idea. They should charge $3 movies.
That shows how much you know.
You know how much movies are regular? You know how much movies are now? $15,
$20?
$20?
Yeah, but I'm an AMC A-list member. I pay $20 a month. I can see 3 movies a week for $20. Any movie, anytime, any theater. It's worth it.
You mean just AMC theaters, of course.
Oh, it's just AMC. Right. Now Regal Cinemas has filed bankruptcy, so I look for them to close some theaters that's not profitable.
They closed the Town Center Mall, Regal, which was a great theater. They renovated it not too long ago, and now it's gone right next to a Varsity. It was a great location.
I just think I heard Al say that movies were doing great, and then all of a sudden they're going out of business. What's going on here, Al?
Well, I mean,
did people stop going to the movies or not?
Well, COVID did hurt theaters. I'll give you that.
Okay, that's all I said a minute ago, and you said I was an idiot.
But they're slowly coming back. But Regal was in financial trouble. They overextended themselves.
Right.
They bought too many theaters.
And they've outpriced themselves. When people outprice the movies,
the concessions,
the price of going to the movies is $50. A family of 4 is $100.
Yeah.
So don't tell me that people can afford to do that 3 times a week. Al, you're a retired radio DJ, you can afford it, but I can't.
You stream a movie, you're going to pay $20 to stream the movie one time, or maybe for 24 hours, and then you're going to have to fix yourself some popcorn. You got to buy Cokes. You got to do all that.
For a lot less than it would cost at a theater.
That's right.
I'm not ganging up on you.
At your house, you can do that.
But you have to remember, that's how theaters make their money.
I know.
The film companies get a large percentage of the ticket price.
I'm not complaining about the making of the money. I just think they've made money, and they're trying to gouge people sometimes, and people look for the bargains. So if there's a good bargain, like you said, you found a theater club 3 times a week, is great. If you're a retiree and you can go to movies 3 times a week, I don't think there's that many good movies out there, personally, right now. There's some crap out right now, but not a lot of good movies.
There's always crap. But
there's Elvis.
You got to read out the junk and go see the good stuff.
We got to shout out our friend Bill Tush, who runs the Sandy Springs Cinema and Tap House.
He actually doesn't run it. He works there.
Well, come on, man.
He doesn't.
Don't throw.
He doesn't run it. He
the
works
Bill
there.
Tush? Wow.
He's a nice guy.
I know.
He's
a real great
funny,
guy.
funny as hell. He's a great follow on social media.
Well, I've known him a very long time.
I'm just saying, I think it's smart that a lot of these theaters adapted to the changing times and put in bars where people can have an alcoholic beverage. Because that's something you could do at home. You couldn't in the past do at a theater.
They should feed you good food instead of crap.
Bar
they
food.
should feed you.
Well, these dining theaters, these dining theaters serve booze if you want to buy booze.
Yeah. And that was a smart move.
I don't go to movies to drink a beer.
I won't either because I don't have to get up and take a leak every other minute.
That's what I'm
well, the British did it first. When I went to Britain back in the late '70s, early '80s, I went to a movie there at Piccadilly, and down off Piccadilly, and they had.
You're a funny guy.
Yeah, they had a seating like we have now at AM. Like you go to AMC, you got to pick a seat. Well, back then you had to pick a seat, and then you go in there, and it's stadium seating, very comfortable chairs, and there was a bar on every level of that particular theater I went into, and I'd never seen that before. And we're talking late 70s, early 80s, and they were already doing it. It took the Americas to do that same little trick. How many years? How many decades?
Decades. Like, they were a little slow on the intake with that.
What year was this, Tom?
This was late 70s, early 80s.
Now, was there a bar, too?
Now, where was it at?
That's what he's saying. There was a bar in every level.
It was right off of Piccadilly.
The Piccadilly Circus?
Al thought you were a kid and talking about the Morrison's Cafe
wait a minute.
Piccadilly.
Now, wait a minute. I was thinking about the cafeteria.
Of course you were. I knew
really?
he was serious.
The Pickaninny.
I think the Fox Theater was the first one in Atlanta to allow an alcoholic beverage, but you're paying a premium price to get in.
Yeah, but at the Fox, it's more of a more Broadway show type stuff. That
True.
They had concerts and stuff more than movie theaters because they did.
And they had
summer
intermissions a
movie
lot of times.
theater
You could go
series.
pee and all that.
What was that, Tom? I'm sorry.
They did the summer movie series, which do they still do it now?
Yeah, I saw a lot of summer movie series.
Yeah, they did
the Coca-Cola summer film
series. They did it this year too, but
they did.
They ran some. They run these family films.
And it used to be on film. You just said the key word. Now it's digital,
It's all
which I hate.
digital.
They used to get like 35 millimeter prints of classic Warner Brothers cartoons that they would splice before the main feature, and they'd have double features. They'd have James Bond double features. I remember in 1996, the year of the Atlanta Olympics, saw Dr. No and Goldfinger back to back. It was great.
Well, you think about it. The Fox is a beautiful place, but it's not a great place to watch a movie.
The acoustics are lousy.
The acoustic is terrible.
Yeah, too much of an echo.
The sound bounces all over the place.
But it's beautiful.
It's beautiful theater.
It was just a big show to go to the
Now,
Fox.
they bring up the big Hammond organ prior to the show.
You hear the Mighty Mo at the beginning. You get to hear the
Yeah.
songs, do the sing-along on the screen, the cartoons, and then the movie feature all together, like the old days of going to movies.
It was great.
You would bring your family and go to the Fox.
Now I've got a friend here at work who, his name's David, and he's got a big Dolby Atmos system at home.
Whoa!
And he swears that thing sounds amazing. And of course, even if you go to Costco and buy it, it's expensive as crap. I wouldn't even touch it. I mean, with a 10-foot pole because it's so expensive. But the bad thing about the Dolby Atmos for home is after 2, 3, 4 years, and they come up with a new model or new speakers, guess what? When you upgrade the software, the older speakers become bricks. You might as well just throw them in the water because they won't work
But you can
anymore.
still use the old speakers, the original ones. Why would you have to? You don't have to upgrade the software, do you?
I'm just telling you that's how they do it. Just like Apple with their now we're getting off on another subject. Just like Apple after 5 or 6 years, maybe 8 years, but after so many years, you can't update it anymore. It will. The system that you've got loaded, the base system will not allow you to load the updates with all the new fancy schmancy stuff because your computer won't run it because they want you to go out and buy a new one. And the same with the Dolby Atmos speakers. So I'm just saying that that's the way the world has become.
Well, I still run Dolby 5.1. That's enough for me.
Well,
No doubt about it.
Tom's right, and even with TVs, now you have to buy a sound bar, whereas I have a 2007 Sony. It had great sound. It still runs. And then I have a 2015 Sony in another room, and the sound sucks.
They got terrible speakers in them. They're terrible. They're terrible.
Yeah, my girlfriend, Samantha, bought it for me. And great birthday gift. And the salesman, I was there. She's like, pick one out. And the salesman was like, oh, you need a sound bar. I go, well, this is going in a bedroom, so I don't really need home. But isn't that a shame? Like that technology. It's a scam. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh,
trying to get more of your money. And if your TV does not have the ARC HDMI out or the speaker output or the optical outlet, don't worry about it. You can buy a converter from Amazon for about $27, and you plug in your HDMI into that box, and it splits it all for you to where you can run a sound bar, everything. So there is always a workaround in that world of audio in case you have a TV that does not afford those options.
Tom, speaking of workarounds, We took your advice. I bought a grounding thing. This is behind the scenes inside baseball, but my laptop, when I plug it in, there's a terrible hum. So I'm trying to keep it powered up. Got the grounding thing. It didn't work. So there's something up with Al's studio here. I don't know.
It should work.
I know.
That usually gets the hum out of the
it's a cheap grounding plug. It's not a very good one.
Well, I'm holding up for the camera whenever it catches
up.
No,
that's the same one. It's like 98 cents. It's not even expensive. It's pretty cheap. And that got all the hum out of my studio, for instance. I had a hum for a long time when we first started doing shows. I couldn't figure it out. So then I hooked up three of those, and that took the hum out. I mean,
I've got two. Maybe I'll do a double duty later and see if I don't lose power.
No, I don't know if double dutying it would take care of it, but that should have gotten rid of that hum. But I'm
well, you have to remember, there's a lot of stuff on in here, and he's got this beacon light flashing. It's off the same circuit, so that could be a problem.
I have it plugged in. Pod me up so Tom can hear. Can you pod up my laptop for just a second?
I can't hear because I'm on the phone.
No, we don't want to hear.
We'll just try it. I'm going to see if it's humming.
No, we don't want to hear a hum.
Okay, God.
We know what a hum sounds like.
I wouldn't hear it anyway.
No, not on the phone. He wouldn't hear it. So.
All right, we got breaking weather. I got to run. I'll talk to y'all.
Breaking weather? What's going on?
I don't know. I see the guy on the
breaking wind. God farted.
Well, not in Atlanta. I mean, I'm sure it's not in Atlanta. So.
No.
Okay, I'll talk to y'all later. Y'all continue.
Well, you go earn that paycheck. Bye.
Bye.
That was good.
And ice cream is no longer coming in a half-gallon container anymore, just to let you know.
Well, Mayfield is presently.
Things were big. They're getting smaller and sharper.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Why was that?
So now you get 1 3/4 of a gallon or whatever.
Like Ben & Jerry's. Look at Ben & Jerry's. They charge over $5 for a little pint. Yeah.
I don't like Ben & Jerry's.
Ooh, but I love their cookie dough ice cream. It's good.
You shouldn't like it because of their... Never mind.
That's a conspiracy. That's how they get you. They keep making the packages smaller and the price goes up.
And same with everything. Like toilet paper. Now you got to buy the triple roll to get the size of the roll it was in the 80s when it was just a normal roll.
It used to be a regular roll. Now
Single,
it's called a
double,
triple or a double or a quadruple roll.
We're stepping off on something else nostalgic. Do you remember the multicolored toilet paper?
You could always just use your hand and then wash it.
Oh, disgusting, sir. You think you're funny over there. Just push your buttons, mister.
Chance had to go take a poop at the restaurant.
Hey, oh, my God.
I still use the Sears catalog out in the outhouse.
You son of a gun.
I got the outhouse with the moon on it outside.
I was considerate. Look, I went before I showered this morning. I had to go again. I was courteous.
Let's not talk about poop.
I didn't want to blow up your toilet here. I waited till we got to the lunch place. God. Can't believe you just outed me for being a poop head.
Well, at least you didn't stink up my bathroom.
We don't want to talk about that on at lunchtime, and we don't want to talk about it on the Podblast. So let's get off this damn subject. All right?
Thank you.
How do we get? Well, you started it with toilet paper.
Talk about.
Well, I was talking about multicolored toilet paper, which, by the way, got banned because it turned out some of those coloring agents could get inside you. I'll leave it at that. Now I'm being really gross and cause harm, so they banned it. Just like Tom was talking about how they banned certs. I used to love the breath mint certs, and in 2018. Congress banned it for the cottonseed oil, the Retsin, their secret ingredient. You know, they're two mints in one.
Stop talking about that. Let's stop talking about that.
I'm trying to change the subject. And I'm trying to. And by the way, we were talking about that's the original reason Tom called in the first time talking about Jimmy Olsen. Jack Larson, were you thinking of Superman Returns in 2006, the movie?
I think he
was in it.
Superman as an old man
with Brandon Routh as the Man of Steel. Right. Not one of my favorite Superman movies. Although Lex Luthor was interesting in that movie, played by, oh gosh,
we only said that about an hour ago, didn't we?
I know.
Took him an hour to look it up.
Yawn.
I got sidetracked.
It wasn't that important.
Wait, let me see.
I didn't tell you. You had to look it up. All right, come on.
By the way, a movie we watched recently from around the time you were really thriving in your acting career in the 90s. Remember Falling Down with Michael Douglas?
Oh, that's a great movie.
That's a great movie. And what made me think of that is on the way here, I see how much construction there is in the Atlanta, Georgia area. I don't see what they're fixing. It's taking so long and it's creating traffic jams. I don't see much of any progress.
I guess your tax dollars at work.
I'm going 285 to 85 north to get here. You're in Gwinnett County. I live in Cobb. And especially on Spaghetti Junction, the road is just torn up. It's been that way for years. Where's the tax money going? But Michael Douglas, remember he had a scene? He goes, there's nothing wrong with this street. And he pulls out a bazooka and blows it up. I mean, that's an off-the-wall movie. I mean, and remember there was a scene in the convenience store before he trashes it? He's mad at the Vietnamese. He says, I'm being overcharged for my Coke. and he takes a baseball bat out and trashes everything.
I thought it was
in
a
the background.
He went to a McDonald's or something.
That too, but he went to a convenience store and went ballistic because the prices. And in the background, if you watch that movie, it says Corona Street on a street sign inside the convenience store. Kind of weird.
Street.
I did a screenshot. Isn't that weird? Anyway, I digress. See, that's the thing about this show.
It could have been real. It could have been a real street by that name, or it could have just been something they made up and stuck on over a regular sign.
Of course, but isn't that ironic?
Well, it's always ironic when you see it
after the fact.
After the fact, down the road.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but you don't know if they've planned it that way.
No, they didn't plan. I'm not saying that. I'm
happened.
not that nuts. I'm not saying it was planned. It's just a strange coincidence. Yeah. That's all I'm saying. But I'm just tired of all this construction. And I'm sorry, those listening in another country or another town, this won't mean anything to you. Unless you have heavy traffic, too. You might be in L.A. That's the worst traffic in the country. L.A., New York, and now Atlanta.
One thing about being retired, I don't get out and drive very much. I don't get on the freeways anymore.
You have Tom drive you around. And me.
Yeah. Well, I don't like to drive anyway. But
it's like driving Miss Daisy, driving Miss Al.
What's wrong with that?
Nothing. I'm just teasing you.
You drove today, which is good. I'm glad.
I did.
To the restaurant.
Yep. Okay, we were talking earlier about Michael Douglas.
Yeah.
I'll tell a little story about Martin Sheen. It reminded me of Martin Sheen. I was working on a movie called Free Jack in the early 90s with Emilio Estevez.
I worked on that movie. I ran the dailies.
You knew Mick Jagger. You saw Mick Jagger.
I did.
From shooting the dailies. And so
how did we didn't run into one another because I never went to the set. I just went to the little projection room at night and ran the dailies.
Right, but I was on set with Emilio Estevez.
I was never on set. I never went on set.
And Mick Jagger drove a tank down the middle of Peachtree Street downtown, or Spring Street, I guess, near the MARTA station. And they did a big chase scene in the movie on Free Jack. Well, at the time, I was standing in for one of the guys who was in a fight with Emilio Estevez, and we were shooting in a bar in downtown Atlanta, and all of a sudden, Emilio Estevez comes up while me and some of the other guys were just hanging out outside trying to keep our hands warm. We were around a big tank that was on fire, and we're putting our hands up to keep our hands warm in the middle of winter. And Emilio comes up and starts going on, "What's going on in Atlanta, guys? Come on, what's up?" We start shooting the breeze with us. And then I said something to him about his father was shooting a movie in Florida at the time. And he said, "Well, I haven't seen my dad in about 6 months, so it's good to know he's right around the corner." And then a couple days later, we were shooting another scene in downtown Atlanta. And who shows up on set but Martin Sheen? And he pops in, and Emilio pulls me over and says, "Ron, I want to introduce you to Martin Sheen, my dad." So I was like, "Oh, okay."
I'm gonna look that up. The timing, was that before West Wing?
It was crazy. It was
Martin Sheen. Recently, I read an article about it. He said he's sorry he changed his name to Martin Sheen. From his real name was Estevez,
right.
But he said he should have left his name the same. But I don't know why he changed it. Maybe the studios wanted him to change it, but he said he wished he hadn't changed it.
Well, that happened with a lot of people. Rock Hudson, John Wayne, all of them had different names, and they just
that was before West Wing. West Wing was a cash crop for Martin Sheen. That lasted for years. That started September 22nd, 1999. Free Jack came out in 92, would have been shot in 91.
91, we were shooting at the same time. We were shooting RoboCop 3. We were shooting Free Jack, and so it was like
7 seasons West Wing lasted. That was a popular TV show.
But it was just weird. He was shooting in Florida at the time, and so he was able to catch his dad, and he had a couple days off, so he came up here to see him in Atlanta, and I just happened to be working that day too, and he said, "Ron,
I think Martin Sheen
told me he was here." So
and Emilio would have been with Paula Abdul in her heyday in those days. They were a couple.
Possibly, I'm not sure.
Martin Sheen has a great narration voice, though. He's narrated a lot of good stuff.
Oh, he did a lot of commercials for credit cards.
He's got a great narration voice. He really
credit cards and all kinds of products.
Martin Sheen was in The Outer Limits back in the day. One of his first roles, an episode called Nightmare from season 1. He played a U.S. astronaut. And remember that one? I'll just step off that. It's not terribly interesting.
I don't remember. I mean, I'm sure I've seen it.
Yeah, he was in that.
Yeah.
But you didn't see his brother, huh? His crazy half-brother, Tiger Blood?
No, Charlie Sheen hasn't been around Atlanta too much. I don't know of him. It's possible everybody shot a movie in Atlanta by now, but
they do a lot of stuff here.
I don't know that he actually had a big movie. He could have had another made for TV movie.
He was probably courting Paula Abdul. They were married from 92 to 94. You would have seen him in 91-ish. So he's probably courting and dating her. They were only married 2 years. Okay, a little background there.
Yeah, so you never know who's shooting a movie in Atlanta because there's so many productions on
But
set.
you don't hear from the Sheen boys anymore. Charlie Sheen or Emilio, you just don't hear from,
He was big in those days when you met him because Young Guns was very popular.
I saw
little
Young
franchise.
Guns,
yeah.
There are times when movie stars are really big and then they go down.
Yeah.
The same with Sylvester Stallone when his movie I See You came out. It went straight to DVD and never got released in the theater.
Right.
But now you said you saw him in Samaritan, which is on, is it Netflix? Or
Prime, Amazon
Prime. Okay.
Filmed here in Atlanta.
That was filmed here in Atlanta, and I saw that movie yesterday, and it was,
I was a little disappointed in it.
Good in places.
It was not bad, but it was not
overall.
really very good.
Right.
It wasn't the worst movie I've seen, and I like Sylvester Stallone. I just like him. I like him more that he's aged and gotten older. I just like that character he plays.
But I don't think that movie went to the theaters, did it? It went
no,
straight
it never
to
went
Amazon
to,
Prime.
It went straight to Amazon Prime.
And so
it was an MGM picture. They filmed it.
In the movie, you'll see a lot
and
of
that's
Atlanta.
why it wasn't in theaters because they wanted people to buy Prime.
Amazon owns MGM.
You'll see a lot of Atlanta in the movie, but you won't see a lot of good parts of Atlanta because it was bad
wanted to look
parts
like,
of town.
Well, no, it was a grimy, dirty
it
movie.
It look seedy. I didn't see it though.
It was not. It's not supposed to be Atlanta in the movie. It's supposed to be Capital City. So in the movie,
it's supposed to be Detroit, I think.
No, they just called it Capital City.
Well,
but in the movie, it could have been Detroit-like. It was the
wink,
bad
wink,
part of town.
nod, Capital City. Really, we don't want to get sued, so we won't call it Detroit.
It was the bad part of town, so you could see the Atlanta skyline in the background a lot.
Right.
You could see the
Don't
Jesus,
boycott us. We
Jesus
didn't say
saves.
Detroit.
That sign has been used in a lot of movies, and with a good guy, bad guy movie like this, they want that. Save,
the problem was
they're trying to copy Dark Knight, man. They're trying to copy Gotham City.
Well, the
problem
with Samaritan is they had too many villains in it. I mean, if you think about they had 5 different villains or 6.
Everybody was a villain. Even the good guy turns out to be a villain.
You got confused. It should only be maybe 1 or 2 villains, and the final blowout between the main villain and Sylvester Stallone. Oh, it was just so corny. I didn't like it.
The kid starts off in the movie. There's a kid, and Sylvester Stallone lives in the same apartment building.
Right.
The kid actually broke into his apartment.
I know.
To go get a scrapbook and steal a scrapbook from him. This is the beginning of the movie, so I'm not giving anything away.
Yeah.
And then he comes back to his house and tells his mother the kid stole his scrapbook, so he wants his scrapbook back, and the kid gives it back to him.
What are you doing? Leave his mic alone.
It's crazy.
Hey, sorry, she's trying to help.
That's fine. I hear him fine.
But I have a feeling, like you say, it had too many bad guys in it, so that probably makes it
Where
a hard.
Where you going?
I was going to bring him his drink in case he's thirsty.
Hard movie to root for.
Oh.
Yeah.
You thirsty?
No, I'm fine.
Are you thirsty?
No, I'm fine.
Are you thirsty?
No. Thanks. I'm not thirsty. Thank you. I'm not wearing pants either, so I'm not going to stand up. Okay.
I'm trying to be a good co-host.
I see.
But I think that's the reason a lot of movies don't do well is because there is no protagonist and antagonist anymore. It's not good versus bad. It's bad versus worse and worse than bad.
Can we talk about
you got to have somebody to cheer for.
Can we talk about the Dark Knight? Okay, finish your thought.
Speaking of dark, grimy, and dirty, I love the Batman. I thought that was
That's what I said. The Dark Knight. I meant Batman.
I'm not saying it's an always perfect solution. Mm-hmm. There are exceptions like Batman.
Batman. I love it.
Did you see it?
Yes, I saw the Batman. It's
a
great movie. I enjoyed it.
The corruption in it of the police and stuff, and the prostitution. Reminds me of that poor guy in Cartersville. We don't talk news, but that cop from Cartersville, Georgia, went to Florida for a convention to be trained on polygraphs, and he tries to hire a hooker, and it's an undercover cop. He gets busted,
well, how did
and
we
he
get
got
on that?
berated.
Because
it reminded me of
how
the
did
Batman.
We get on that
It's just a matter of life imitating art in a sad way.
Go back to the Batman. I'm just talking about bad guys.
Yeah.
Period. Bad guys in the old days of movies was a good guy and a bad guy, and the white hat and the black hat against each other. That was how you solved the movie.
Good versus evil.
But now there's a lot of gray in the middle, and everybody's a bad guy or a worse guy. So to me, I just think it's hard for today's people. They may not find it so hard, but people that grew up in the old style of movies, today's new style of movies is a little difficult to take because I don't want to see a bad guy versus a worse bad guy.
Right.
There are exceptions like
You're
Scarface.
saying the lines are blurred.
Like Scarface. Scarface, I could see a bad guy. Joker, I thought was a story about a bad guy. The Batman.
A demented guy.
Well, Scarface I did not like at all.
Yeah, you don't have to like it, but it's a classic movie. It's a classic movie.
Well, it's a classic movie. Wasn't my style.
Michelle Pfeiffer was so beautiful in that. All right. That's all I'm saying on it.
But there are movies that some people like and some people don't like, so that's fine too. I completely understand that. Yeah. But I'm just saying the overall aspect of good guy, bad guy has gone haywire. So we do,
the lines are blurred.
We do need some heroes to cheer for, which is good for superheroes. But even some superheroes today are bad guys, superheroes. There's a
like The Boys
TV show, The Boys on.
You know, it's funny. I love movies. I like older movies. I like film noir. It's one of my favorite genres of movies. But a lot of these older movies, I just don't care to see anymore. Like, I've seen Casablanca so many times. Right. I've seen so many good. Right. I like the newer movies. I like the way they're made. I like the style. I like the look. I mean, I like newer movies.
Yeah. There are good new movies. I'm not saying that. When the Crawdad Sings is a great new movie.
I haven't seen that yet.
It's playing at the Terra downtown, I think, here in Atlanta.
What's playing at AMC theaters?
Yeah,
Halloween's coming up. We're going to see some scary movies, and I learned about a scary movie that you and Tom and Ron probably know about. Never heard of, called The Freak Maker.
I've never heard of that.
I think it's a British horror movie. I'm going to look it up, but it's a classic movie where this guy makes beautiful women monsters. Like hideous monsters. It sounds like a cool premise. I don't know.
It sounds like...
Oh, right.
I know the movie Freaks from 1932.
The Freak Maker.
I don't like that movie. I just don't like it.
With a bunch of carnival freaks in the movie.
They're all midgets. They're all little people.
Well, not all of them. Some of them are like the girl with the funny hair and the head that was all goofy.
That's just too creepy.
The bearded lady and all the.
It's just too creepy. I didn't care for it.
It's a standard old movie that was kind of a classic, but. It
came out in the 30s, didn't it?
It's a hard taste.
Yeah.
It's not
my style
of movie.
The TCM runs it occasionally, but I just don't care for it.
There's another There's another controversy that I stumbled upon through the Nostalgic Podblast Facebook group. You know, I share my stories out to different Facebook groups, and I had posted it was Heather Thomas's 65th birthday on the day Queen Elizabeth II passed away, unfortunately, on September 8th. And I mentioned the poster. I said her poster sold, her wall poster of her in a hot pink bikini in a hot tub sold more posters than anything, including the Farrah Fawcett classic poster, according to Heather Thomas when I interviewed her on my show. And that, I had people get so angry at me, there's no way that the Farrah Fawcett was outsold. And I try to look up sales figures. You can't find it. I believe Heather Thomas. She has no motivation to lie. I don't think it's an ego thing. She's very down to earth. She's taken care of. I believe her because everyone I knew growing up, different generational thing. I'm Gen X, but everybody I knew had that poster. I mean, in my personal experience, everyone had that Heather Thomas poster in the 80s. I think it probably did outsell the Farrah poster, probably just by a little bit, but you disagree. You think the Farrah poster,
No, Farrah was huge. I think she was
Of course. She was a bigger star, but...
She wasn't as big a star. But I think she was probably good for her period, her time.
It was her look, though, and her body. That's why it sold. It's not about star power.
I agree, but still, I mean, there are people who had the iconic Farrah Fawcett poster.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
And didn't necessarily go by the other one. But I don't know where you're going to get any numbers that will tell you
looked
total
everywhere
sales
for proof.
of
I want
any poster.
They talk about the Farrah poster in general terms, in terms of sales units, but yeah, I'd like to know. I don't think she's making it up, and she would know. If she was getting a percentage of every poster sold, her manager's going to tell her sales figures, so I don't think she's lying. Anyway, enough said on that. The big controversy, was it Farrah Fawcett's poster or the Heather Thomas classic pink bikini poster that sold more? We'll find out. And get back to you. A special investigation with us nostalgic experts.
I didn't buy either one of them. Did you, Al?
I didn't either. But everyone I knew had them. Both of them.
No, I did not.
I've got the Dolly Parton's Greatest Hits album, though.
Just like...
I've got the, Reba McEntire swimsuit calendar. Did you get that one?
No, I don't have that. I like Reba McEntire,
You should get that one. That's a good one.
I saw her in concert one time, and she put on a great show. I met her when I was working at Kicks, and then met her backstage, and she's really nice. I like Reba McEntire. Yeah, she did a great version of a song called Kathy's Clown by the Everly Brothers. I love her version of that song.
Reba's coming back on a TV show in a couple of weeks called Big Sky.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that?
Yeah,
I loved her in the movie.
She's going to do the next arc, whatever. She's in the next arc of it.
Remember Tremors, the movie Tremors she was in?
Oh, that was great.
That was a great movie with Kevin Bacon.
She's a cutie.
I love Reba McEntire.
I like her voice. She's country
Michael
girl.
Gross did Tremors too. Yeah, Michael Gross is also in Tremors.
That wasn't very good. The first one was the best.
Right. He was in the Tremors 4 or 5, 6, the last ones. He wasn't in the original really good one.
Can I throw some local Atlanta actor names who now have a national worldwide footprint that are local actors you've probably worked with or know? Steve Coulter. Do you ever meet him? You'd know who he is.
I know a lot of people by their face.
You and I worked for days on a movie called The Odd Life of Timothy Green, which was a Disney movie starring
Jennifer Garner.
Jennifer Garner, thank you, Jennifer Garner, and we were factory workers out in like the Stone Mountain area or somewhere.
We worked in the pencil factory.
For days and days and days and days and days and days and days. Well, Steve Coulter was in that in a smaller speaking part, and I talked to him how I just got shot in Walking Dead by Merle, and he goes, "Oh, I'm dying to get on that show." Well, now he's She-Hulk's boss at the law firm in the new She-Hulk show. That's a big role for him. And I was happy to see him because he was so nice to me about 10 years ago on the set of The Odd Life of Timothy Green. Another name, do you know Michael Cole? He's related to, remember the actor on the Mod Squad, Cole, Al?
Yeah, was he he wasn't the black guy, he was the white guy.
No, he's the white guy.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember.
He aged funny, too. He was on Chips not too long after the Mod Squad. He looked like a completely different person. But anyway, one of his relatives is a local actor. He's related to him. He's on She-Hulk playing one of her relatives, like a smaller role than the Steve Coulter role. Anyway, my point is, I like to see local actors get breaks in terms of principal parts in this town, because typically
they do get breaks occasionally. I got a break in a movie called Warm Springs one time where I played the president and introduced the president, in the movie. So that can happen.
Eisenhower, wasn't that? I should know. The one that was in the wheelchair.
Wasn't Eisenhower?
No, it was a
dummy.
I know. It was a
Kenneth Branagh played Roosevelt during his polio years.
Roosevelt.
Yeah.
I knew it. It's in my head.
Well, he had polio, and he would go down to Warm Springs, Georgia, because of the water and
the little White House is down there.
Yeah, right.
I know.
So that was the one I told you earlier, where they just came up out of the blue and offered me the part because they said, "Can you introduce President Roosevelt at the podium?" And I said, "Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I give you Franklin Delano Roosevelt." And they
Don't
said,
you put alcohol in that microphone?
I didn't. I thumped it by mistake.
All right.
They said, "Perfect. Let you talk to the director." And I went to talk to the director, and he said, "Okay, you got the part." So I wound up being a speaking character in the movie for two days, and I still get residuals for $2.37.
Well, that's a fat check you get, don't you?
Like it was 2005, so this is what, 20 years later, 15, 17 years later.
So every time it airs on cable, you get a check.
Right.
Huh.
And it won movie
or streaming
Emmy Award for Best Picture that year for HBO. So it was a good movie.
I seem like I remember that movie,
but it wasn't like a huge action movie where I would have got lots of money. Like if it had been,
they would have been more popular.
Spider-Man,
right.
The Batman,
that's airing all the time.
Yeah,
on FX channel,
and you get a lot of plays out of it, and people pay you money because they buy the DVD. And I think this DVD sold a lot to the libraries. Yeah. People that wanted them in their library for historical purposes.
Free rental.
I wonder how residuals work on streaming shows. I guess it's by download. I would think. I mean, because it's the same as airing.
It depends on their contract. That's how it is. It's not. I don't
Of
think it's
course,
the download.
But how do they calculate the clicks? Is it ISP, Internet Service Provider?
They probably get a flat fee. I don't know.
Unique device ID. I mean, it's just interesting to me the way things have evolved in terms of entertainment.
It's based on shows. Then if it's showing on Netflix, it'll be a Netflix fee. It won't be like every time it shows. It'll be.
So the actor's getting screwed a little bit. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Not necessarily, because people watch Netflix and streaming services differently from the way they watch regular movies. If you watch a regular movie in the theater, you watch it on television, you watch it on an airplane when you're flying, whatever, those are paid performances.
Right.
But Netflix, you can watch at your leisure when you want to.
On demand.
Whenever.
On demand, yeah.
So they're not getting 5 million people watching at one time to give you a big check. They're getting 30 people watching now, 40 tonight, 100 later.
Right.
Or 100,000 or 10,000 or whatever big numbers are. For Netflix, that's one channel out of hundreds of streaming services.
There's a show on Netflix I want to see about the Queen. I'm just immersed with her history now that I've learned and done some research about her.
I thought you watched something on ABC about that.
I did, 2020, but there's a whole show. It's got 4 seasons worth of dramatizations of her early life. And that was a complaint I had about 2020. I said they did a great job. One of my complaints I haven't mentioned yet was that this one guy with ABC News kept referencing something in that show as if it's the gospel. And, of course, they dramatize things for dramatic effect. And I thought that was kind of like they'd show a clip, and it's like that time, and he's referencing it like it's a journal or a, her friggin' diary or something. I don't know. Does that make sense? That was kind of silly.
Well, speaking of Netflix, I signed up for it. I have it now. Yeah. Well, see, I had their DVD service. I still have it because I get DVDs from them to show in my movie theater. But they cut me a deal, so I signed up for the streaming service. So there's some movies I want to see. I want to watch RRR, which is it's a Bollywood movie from India, and it's 3 hours long. I want to see that really bad.
Why?
If you want to see it,
it's gotten rave reviews.
To each his own. Now you can watch Bollywood movies if you want to.
I like Bollywood movies.
I've seen one or two of them, but I don't know that I watch them every week.
I want to watch The Gray Man.
Gray Man was a great movie. I saw that already about a month ago. It was great. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I want to watch that. There's some good ones on there.
Yep.
So, but I'll enjoy it. Like I said, I'm retired. I work at home. I do some work at home, but I don't go anywhere. So I justify having some streaming services to entertain me.
Remember Slumdog Millionaire? I saw that. That was a pretty interesting movie. Slumdog Millionaire.
I didn't care for that. I saw it. It was okay.
You said you're lying. I'm going to give you a dime.
It was good.
I'll give you 10 cents.
I tell you a movie I saw in the theaters the other day that's really, really good. It's called The Invitation. It's a great horror movie. It's wonderful. It's really good. It's very gothic looking. I love the set design. I love the way the movie looks. It just looks fantastic. The Invitation.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
You talked about it last
time. The trailer
looks
good. Looks very good.
Now I watched the movie.
I like that Orphan. That looks. I haven't seen all of them. The Orphan horror series.
That's a new one, though.
Yeah, it's a new one.
That's a new one.
It always pops up when I'm streaming on Roku. I see the Orphan 4 or something.
Yeah,
creepy looking girl.
Yeah. Wasn't there an orphan movie in a theater right now? Yeah.
That's what he's talking about. There's an orphan that came out a couple years ago, and then they made a sequel.
Now
coming out.
Orphan 2, 2022 film. First Kill.
First Kill. That's it.
I watched a movie the other day I got from Netflix, and I hadn't heard about the movie. It came out in 2019. It's called The Peanut Falcon.
Well, watch it.
The Peanut Falcon.
Okay.
Don't laugh. It's probably one of the best movies I've seen in a very long time. You ever heard of Dakota Johnson? She's in it.
Yeah, Don Johnson's daughter.
She is terrific. Shia LaBeouf's in it, who does a phenomenal job. But the movie is about a kid with Down syndrome. His name is Zach, and it's based on him, and it's a true story. And it's about, to make a long story short, Zach escapes from this institution that Dakota Johnson works at. She cares for him. But he escapes. He hooks up with Shia LaBeouf, who is a fisherman, and it's filmed in Savannah, Georgia. And he's a fisherman, and they sort of team up, and he teaches this Down syndrome kid about life. And it's like a Mark Twain movie. They travel across the beaches and all across the South down towards Florida, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful movie. It's very well written.
I don't think it did very well though at the theaters.
It didn't. It
came out a few years ago.
It came out in 2019.
It didn't do very well.
Released by Lionsgate, but look it up. The critics love it. It's a wonderful movie.
Dakota Johnson, she's a great actress.
She's great in this movie.
There are a lot of good movies that come out that nobody ever releases. Nobody ever sees.
In 50 Shades of Grey, no one could put her legs in the air like she could. It was just wonderful. I'm kidding.
But no, it's a tearjerker. It'll make you cry.
There are good movies that nobody ever sees.
She is
because
I'm kidding. She's a great actress.
She is. She's very good in this movie.
If you don't get a good release and the competition has a lot to do with it, what else is coming out at the same time, so you might not get the people to see your movie, but a lot of times they'll find it later on cable or DVD or something down the road. So that could be a good.
Well, the Peanut Falcon is on Prime if you want to see it, but it's a wonderful movie. He's had his share of problems, Shia LaBeouf, but he's a great actor. He is really good.
And he's become Catholic for a recent role.
Yeah, he's playing
about Pio, Saint Pio.
Yeah, Saint Pio is coming out.
Pio.
I can't wait to see that. And he converted to Catholicism, but I
met him on set.
He's a great actor. He really is.
When I tarred and feathered that bootlegger in Lawless, he kept to himself. He was on his phone. We were in Noonan, Georgia, filming. He was doing one scene. I'm doing another scene. But it was a very small, closed set. I mean, I was not one of like a cattle call. It was a very, very cool thing. And he was just on his phone. Now, Guy Pearce was super cool. He gave
I like
me
Guy
acting
Pearce,
tips.
too. He's good, too.
Good character actor, like Tom was talking about character actors. He would definitely be considered a character actor in my book because he has starred in The Time Machine, but he hasn't really. He should be bigger, I think, than he is.
But no,
remember the remake of The Time Machine? Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about. Oh, I don't want to telegraph our punch, but when we're all back together with Tom, we're going to do something on time travel movies down the line. Whenever Tom decides to do that with video, it's going to be great. Time travel, TV shows, and movies. That's going to be a great topic. Whenever we get to it.
Oh, I like movies like that. The Time Machine from 1960.
George Powell.
It was Rod Taylor's, and Yvette Menu is
written
really
by H.G. Wells, right?
Yeah, it's a great movie. It's one of my favorites.
Hard to beat the original, but the
hard to beat the Morlocks, those creatures. Remember the monsters, the Morlocks? I think they were called.
Yeah, I like the
Morlocks.
What was the one with
Malcolm
Malcolm McDowell was in a Time movie? I'm trying to think of the title.
Not Planet of the Apes.
No, Malcolm McDowell.
Malcolm McDowell. Yeah. Oh, Time After Time.
Yes.
Directed by Nicholas Meyer, who directed Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan.
That was about Jack the Ripper.
That was great. And David Warner was in it, who recently died.
Right.
He would play Jack the Ripper.
Right.
And he met Mary Steenburgen, his wife. They got married, and now they're divorced. But that's how they met. She was his love interest in that movie.
Yeah,
that's
Malcolm
a great
McDowell,
movie.
I've always liked him.
We got to save it for the show with Tom. But yeah, that's good. Did you see Time After Time?
Mm-hmm.
That was a good movie. Underrated.
I like that.
Nicholas Meyer is. He's an underrated director.
Did you see Time Bandits?
Yeah. You were talking about British TV, talking about Monty Python. That's kind of a.
Yep.
And David Warner's in that too.
That's the one that had all the little guys in it too. The little short guys
Don't
running
touch
around.
it.
George Harrison did the music for it.
Yeah.
John Cleese in it too.
Yeah, he's in it.
Yeah.
It's a fun movie. I liked it.
I know it's not Monty Python. I'm just saying it's kind of like that humor. Is all I was saying. People, I get comments and you idiot. That's not Monty Python. What are you talking about? Anyway,
they flew around different time periods, and
yeah,
involved in a little adventures.
Good one, Al. Those are great picks.
It's just a good movie.
Man, there's so much, and see now I'm tempted to talk about it. I got to save it for when we're with Tom. I'll save it.
Yeah,
time tunnel and all that
time
stuff.
Travel.
All right. And the Quantum Leap's coming back, by the way, and it looks awful. It looks terrible. Al, your namesake. I just don't like it when they put a different head or different look on a character. I'll just have to leave it at that.
Quantum Leap, wasn't that...
Scott Bakula, it was on NBC for years, from like 89.
Doesn't MeTV run that now?
It's probably and it's probably on Peacock streaming because that's an NBC Universal property.
I think MeTV runs it like at 5 o'clock in the morning or something.
Do they?
Could be.
Yeah. I think so.
Invaders is on 5 in the morning Saturdays
into
Sunday.
No, they run it.
I don't think it's on there.
I can't watch them all. There's way too many streaming services right now.
Well,
I don't
can't see every movie and every show.
I don't like a lot of
I didn't like
shows.
Quantum Leap, the original. I didn't.
But if there's any show, any movie you want to see, it's out there. Believe me, there's so many channels on television and cable and streaming services.
Well, I have an outside antenna on my deck.
You can find everything on Tubi.
And I get 70 channels just here in Atlanta over the air.
Right, over the air.
Yeah, over the air.
And they've added a lot more lately. I've just noticed there used to be 11.1, 2, and 3. Mm-hmm. Now there's an 11.5, 6, 7. They've added more.
Well, I get 70 with my antenna on the
What
deck.
are they expecting people to do? Just to try and stay in their little block? Is that the plan? They want you to try and stay around their big channel. Used to be 2, 5, and 11 had all the NBC, ABC, CBS shows. And
I love Buzzer. I love some of those sub channels, man, that are free.
But now the sub channels like Buzzer and TV Land,
MeTV, Antenna TV,
Grit TV is one of my favorites.
Cozy,
all the cowboy movies and
Grit TV.
Yeah, Movies is one.
Movies is one. They run that's on channel 5.5.
Yeah. And the stupidest
5.2.
5.2. Okay.
WSB
5.2
is the movies network,
and they show a lot of the same stuff that TCM.
WSB, when it was owned by Cox before Apollo took it over, one of the dumbest things they did, they got rid of MeTV and switched it out for something that failed. It was like a crime over-the-air network.
And then they switched it again.
Idiots.
I know.
And now they've lost control. But in the affiliate now in the Atlanta area in Tacoma
is Channel 69 in Atlanta.
Yes, and I wish Comcast picked up that feed.
And Tacoma is at Channel 37
WGTA or something, and it's in Tacoma. And what I wish Xfinity would switch to the Atlanta
60.
feed, because now they're preempting a whole hour of prime time on MeTV. They're preempting Hogan's Heroes and Green Acres with local news out of like Detroit. They're trying to make it look like it's local land news. People are so mad. They're writing. They flooded the Facebook page for WGTA with negative comments and reviews, and they censored them.
They'll drop it eventually.
It can't be getting ratings. I mean, and MeTV's not happy about it either.
Yeah, nobody's
being
watching
preempted.
it.
No one watches. You want to get away from news and politics when you're watching a classic show.
Channel 36 is doing like news at 9, news at 10, news at every.
And sometimes they'll preempt. There's too much news, and sometimes they'll preempt for sports, which is really aggravating. In other markets, I've seen they haven't done that in Atlanta lately. They have in the past. Like a football game, a college, like a third tier, like AAA division, terrible football game will interrupt a classic TV network. You're just going to anger people.
Channel 2 sub-carrier used to carry the Gwinnett Braves, remember?
Uh-huh.
They used to drop
They would preempt MeTV when WSB was in charge to air that.
Gwinnett Braves, yes.
And people complained, so they stopped doing that. Yeah. But Quantum Leap, real quick, remember Dean Stockwell? He was a great actor. He played Al in the original Quantum Leap. And I just thought he was a good character.
He played in a movie I liked when he was a kid called The Boy with Green Hair.
Yeah, in the new version, he's a Chinese guy, I think. Letters are going to come. I mean, I'm just
Chinese. He's not Chinese.
No, and he could be Korean. I don't know. Let me look up this actor who's playing Al.
I don't know my Chinese voice is the same as my Japanese voice I did earlier.
We'll be wrapping it up soon. We've gone almost 2 hours.
So I was going to say, we're getting close
last
to
call for phone calls, 678-615-7560. Right, Al?
Before we wrap it up, yes.
678.
Is anybody still listening? Can you tell?
I can tell. Let me pull it up. Probably not. We probably bored everybody to sleep.
We scared everybody away.
Everyone's watching pro football. Everyone's watching football.
Well, somebody's calling. Hello, who is this?
Yeah, this is Ethan from Canton calling you again.
I thought you had to go to work.
I did, but it was a false alarm.
There wasn't a snowstorm in Texas. You had to look up. Okay.
No. I don't think. Not yet. It's going to be that way, but not yet.
It's no emergency. I thought there was an emergency coming up in the weather.
No. But here's a clip from Don Rickles. Y'all know who Don Rickles is?
Of course, yeah. The great Don Rickles, the
there's
insult
a great
comic.
clip. I know Al really likes Clint Eastwood. Well, Don Rickles showed up at his thing in L.A. A few years back, and AFI Awards, I think it was. And let's see what it sounds like. Let's see how good or how bad this sounds. Here it comes.
I must say, I'm here to honor Merv Griffin.
That sounds good.
Merv has been a dear friend of mine, and I love his hotel. I think he's a hell of a guy, and it's a great treat for me to be here for Merv. I do want to say to those of you that ate the fish, you will die.
What?
Clint, I say with due respect, 28 years ago we did Kelly's Heroes, and I haven't heard from you since.
I love Kelly's Heroes.
Clint, I say it, nobody else has said it, and I say it from my heart. You're a lousy actor.
So y'all were talking yourself. We're going to, play that. Did it sound okay?
Yeah, it sounded great.
Actually came through just fine.
Okay. All right. Well, y'all. I won't call again. So y'all have
we're going to be wrapping it up. We've gone
a good
almost 2 hours.
few moments. Okay. Bye.
Bye.
I think we're scaring people away now.
Raymond Lee is the actor in the new Quantum Leap, and he's going to play a doctor, Dr. Ben Song. And he's born in New York. He's an American, so no need to send letters. I was just describing, let's see. All right. Well,
no relation.
It doesn't really matter, I don't think, because I don't think. I think the movie's probably the show's going to bomb anyway. But he plays Dr. Ben Song in the new Quantum Leap, so I guess he's the star. He's not the Al character. Then I was wrong. I hate to say I'm wrong, admit it, but I was wrong. I think he's the Scott Bakula character, or we'll see. Maybe he's just a guy trying to rescue him at the scientist lab or something.
He's an Asian guy, though.
He's Asian.
He's related to.
That's fine. I'm not
Bruce Lee or somebody.
I'm all part.
He's a
all inclusive over here.
Yeah, I think he's related to Bruce Lee or somebody.
I didn't think about that.
Main actor, maybe Jason Lee or.
Let me look that up.
His son or something.
Raymond Lee.
But
he's got a great look.
Yeah.
Let's see if he's.
I thought he was a famous family of some sort.
He's from South Korean. He's of South Korean descent.
Oh, okay.
So shouldn't have called him Chinese.
His family not listed. Okay.
No.
Keep going.
It just shows his credits.
Family
No, usually the family's right up here at the top.
Okay.
I don't know. Whatever. Okay.
Well, any final thoughts? We've gone almost 2 hours here, hour and 52 minutes.
Well, thanks. I
That's a
appreciate
good
it.
length.
Thanks for letting me come by and say hey to
No,
everybody.
it's been
Oh,
fun.
let's see if there's any Facebook comments. I had that down. I didn't even look before. Let's acknowledge someone. If
People are posting on Facebook.
sometimes,
talking? Oh, no.
sometimes they do.
Sometimes. Most people watch afterwards, you know.
People make comments on Facebook though. They don't
Now,
like
if
something.
it's-
They'll tell you. They'll tell you they don't like it if they don't like it.
If you don't,
Tell me about it.
If it's on your Facebook page, you can watch all this later.
Let's see.
And you can also erase it later, right?
No, watch it.
No,
It'll be out there forever and ever and ever and ever.
It's a dud. No, I'm kidding. I don't
dud?
see
Oh.
anything. I don't see anything.
Well,
we didn't kill anybody.
Everyone's watching football. This is the first day of NFL. I mean, the first full weekend of NFL football as we're live. Anyway.
Is it live today? Okay.
Yeah, we're live.
Any closing thoughts?
I enjoyed having Ron here as our special guest, sitting in Tom's seat. Tom will be back next time, and I appreciate him calling in because we didn't prepare squat. We just had lunch together and said, "Hey, let's get together and go live and talk." But
That's
I like
right.
how you both. Anyone didn't see the very beginning of the show. These guys both work together at a formerly great country music station in the Atlanta area, WKHX 101.5 FM.
Yes.
Which they rebranded stupidly.
New Country 101.5.
Shouldn't even give them a plug.
That's true.
It's so dumb.
Yeah, let's start pirate radio, Al. Come on, pirate radio. Are you listening?
Let's don't do that now.
Al told me he didn't like country music either.
No.
Well, he didn't say he didn't like it. It
When I
just
first
wasn't
got
his favorite music.
When I first got a job in country radio, I didn't listen to country, so I knew nothing about it.
You just took the
But
job because they were giving you money.
I took the
That's
job
what it
because
was.
I wanted to be on the radio, and I learned to like it. I mean, but country music back in the 80s and 90s was actually a lot better, but now it's all pop music. It's just different. You know, I like the days of Alan Jackson and Clint Black and Reba McEntire and the Judds and, you know, that kind of country. There are these new country artists. I have
It's
no
like
idea.
rock. I mean, it's like pop and rock. The
Yeah,
lines are blurred. Like you're saying,
the rap country
lines are
song?
blurred in movies between good and evil.
Right.
Same thing with country music, that's for sure. But everything comes in cycles. Maybe
That's
true country
true.
will come back. But I like songs that tell a story. You know,
Well,
there's
country
a,
music always told a story.
That's right. That's what I'm saying. That's the best country music, in my opinion.
But country music today is pop rock, and it's about sex and cheating and all this other stuff.
Well, a lot of them are cheaters. Like that little. I won't name names.
won't
Forget
go
it.
there.
That little girl. Who was with
Anyway,
Blake Shelton.
I'm not a fan of the new stuff.
Okay, Al.
And any other acting stories, set stories? I mean, hell, we worked on so much
We
stuff
got to
together.
save a few of them. I've got a bunch
Okay.
of them, but I ain't going to use them all up
call
on,
in
on
with
one
it.
show. We'll
Call in with it.
We'll get them on the next episode. Stay tuned. Always leave them wanting
And
more.
you can always call in too.
Yeah.
You know that. So.
All right, well, listen, thanks everybody for watching and tuning in.
Did you show the camera your Kicks shirt? Let's get a good shot before we sign off of your Kicks Country Classic T-shirt. Get the camera on you, buddy.
Wait a minute.
From the old days?
Yeah, I mean, he dressed for the occasion, Al did. I gotta applaud Al
There it is.
for giving a crap for a change.
There it is.
I'm kidding. You always care. Is it on camera? Good.
I put it on camera. Hang on a second.
No, Ron, it's been nice having you here on our nostalgia show. I guess we're like the nostalgic trio or a nostalgic team. We got to come up with something because we merged 3 shows or 3 podcasts into one. That's what we do.
good
I'm
name.
the Nostalgic Podblast. By the way, you can hear us on fistfulofradio.com every Saturday and Sunday at 2 in the afternoon, some overnights, and Monday night at 8. And where can we find...
And all the other platforms.
Yeah,
you know,
tune in.
Switch and tune in. And
Did you put that graphic up that Tom designed
Yeah,
with
it's
our
been
stuff?
on.
Good.
It's been
That was
Can
nice.
we
of
be?
Tom to
Can
do.
we be the Three Stooges, or is that one already? That's already taken. That one.
That's
already taken. Oh crap! That would have been a good one. All right. Never mind.
All right, wave to the cameras. Goodbye.
Bye. Bye, Mom.
The wish is granted. Long live John B.
Be sure and tell them Large Marge sent ya.
And good night, Mrs. Calabash, wherever you are.
It's good to be the king.